People will like fight you on that. Like, no, Palestine's not occupied. They're not occupied. Like, what do you want me to say? They're busy? It's the busy West Bank. It's peak business hours in East Jerusalem right now. If you give a about occupied people around the world, you cannot allow people to stigmatize their legitimate resistance. People don't know what legitimate resistance is and what it isn't. They're afraid of being linked to terrorism. I think you're overthinking it. All you need to do is ask yourself, if I were an occupied person, if I were a busy person, and I lived under a brutal military occupation, do I have the moral right to resist my occupier, to regain my freedom and my basic human rights? That's about 30% of the crowd. That's not bad. That's a good voter turnout. If you ask your gut this question, your gut's always going to tell you yes. In this dire situation, of course you have the right to regain your humanity like that. The problem is that people are not connected to their gut because they're not taking probiotics. That's it. That's all it is. And once you really get the gut biome going, you can ask yourself these deep moral questions, and your gut will always give you the right answer. If you are struggling with asking yourself a gut question like this, I got you. Just look over at the Geneva Convention. The Geneva Convention is a Western doctrine accepted by the international community that explicitly states that occupied people have the legal right to resist occupation under international law. This was written in Geneva, Switzerland. That's as Western as you can get. They were eating chocolate when they wrote that shit. They're like, yes, of course occupied people have the right to resist. It's very good chocolate, yum. Once you look at those two things, you realize that occupied people do both have a moral and legal right to resist occupation to regain their humanity, okay? So then you have to look a little bit deeper and ask yourself, why is it being stigmatized? You basically just trace this back to our $50 8-pack of politicians. And social media is also a culprit too. For instance, the international symbol of Palestinian resistance is the upside down red triangle. Some of you have seen this, some of you have it tattooed already. The upside down red triangle is simply an international symbol that means that Palestinians have the legal and moral right to resist their occupier, to regain their land and their basic humanity. That's exactly what it means. You can look into it more if you like. Meta is actively working to ban the upside down red triangle. They're banning shapes, bro. This offends me, not even as a Palestinian, but as a fan of Pythagorean theorem. You cannot ban triangles, bro. How else are the kids gonna learn the shapes? But I tell the activists, if they do ban the upside down red triangle, have no fear. Move your eyes over to the red heart emoji. Take a good look at the red heart emoji. Scroll your eyes to the bottom. Do you see what I see? At the bottom of every red heart is an upside down red triangle. It's a visual, it's pointed, it's right there. So you can use that for your activism. You can flash the red heart. It's a lot more loving, obviously. It basically translates to, respectfully, Palestinians have the right to resist. That's why whenever people ask me, like, do you support Palestinian resistance? I'm like, from the bottom of my heart.
And, and all right, guys, we are live. Yo, this is Set with Set Media, guys, and I'm back with another one for you. All right, guys, we got a lot to get into, so we're going to get right into the media analysis because, of course, we got an update on the service members and then more going on within both within the Strait of Hormuz and the Bab-el-Mandeb Strait. So let's go ahead and get right into it on the right side of media with Fox News, guys. And don't forget to double tap that screen and like the video.
Fox News alert, bombs away.
طقون 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 بخابروا يا زمين بخابروا يا زمين.
Central Command delivering devastating blows against Iran. Targets include missile and drone facilities, coastal surveillance sites, and air defense. B-1 bombers tore into the mullahs for the first time since the ceasefire. The long-range jets packed with 2,000-pound bombs flying at the speed of sound. Our electronic warfare aircraft also headed into theater, deployed out of Maine. They're stopping over in the UK, and it jams enemy communications, radars, and navigation. And they're only in the fight when it's a real one. Once Iran caught wind, they threatened to bomb the British base. Good luck. Our F-16 Wild Weasels are back in action. Their motto, first in, last out. You fly into enemy territory, detect radars, destroy them, and clear the battle space for everybody else. Trump wants revenge.
Karachi, their foreign minister,
Trump pretty much made a statement. For every service member killed, it will be, what, one bridge or a power plant. I was like, yeah, that's kind of wild. But I mean, hey, I get it. He wants his revenge. But the problem is, though, escalating to war crimes isn't really the answer. But here's the problem: as we attack their power plant and bridges, Iran will attack power plants and bridges and water salination centers, well, plants throughout the Middle East, and that's the problem here.
The other day say or something about their policies, an eye for an eye. The president's policy is a head for an eye. I mean, honestly, that's what it's going to be. I mean, they will pay a very heavy price.
Marco says the mullahs are on their knees and begging anybody with a pulse to bail them out.
I hope that they'll stop. They shouldn't really do that. They got suckered into this by the Iranians. You know, the Houthis largely were smart and stayed out of all this throughout the conflict. But they now apparently have gotten themselves suckered into this going after.
Yeah, that is true. Like the Houthis decide to control the strait coming out, well, the strait that people use to come out of the Red Sea. And the problem with them doing that is that once again, pretty much hurts the oil supply. And also they're pretty much doing it to Saudi Arabia. And what this could do is pretty much bring strikes upon the Houthis and from not only us, but Saudi Arabia as well. But I mean, here's the thing. We're just wasting more munitions and trying to fight on another, well, country.
Saudi Arabia and their ships. And by the way, that's, you know, I was reading reports a few hours ago that there is actually a Saudi fuel ship that's flagged Chinese. It's a Chinese ship. Are they going to blow up the Chinese ship? And this becomes a problem for China. This will become a problem for the whole world.
This could open up a second front. The Houthis claim they're blockading the Red Sea, but they're not. They did clip some tankers. One of them, a Saudi ship, now leaking oil into the water. This could.
Yeah, that's why everybody's turning around and using the Suez Canal. Like, trust me, everybody's taking that threat seriously. Nobody want to risk getting struck by the Houthis. So they're just going to take the Suez Canal. And the problem with that is just, well, it's a longer trip, so it's going to be more money.
Snarl commerce. Today, oil closed over $100 a barrel.
Yeah.
The commander-in-chief says if Iran or its proxies hit a ship,
98.
repair costs are coming out of their pocket. All their frozen cash we're holding, we'll just wire it to the ship company to plug the holes. Trump's considering
then we'll have no way out, no bargaining tool, nothing. And we're just going to be in it to win it, I guess. I mean, all right, man. I feel like, yep, we're just going to escalate it.
massive attack against Iran, bigger than Epic Fury. He says Israel would jump in, but we don't need them right now. And this just in. We're learning European diplomats are evacuating Iranian embassies. They must know something. Now, suddenly, Iran wants to come back to the table, but the president says no. Quote, they haven't felt enough pain yet.
Iran is begging us, okay, both directly and indirectly. Let's do a deal. Let's talk. Let's talk. Iran is begging.
So here's the thing. So we got Marco Rubio or the Trump administration pretty much saying, oh, no, they're begging us. They're begging us for a deal. And then you got the Iranian side pretty much saying, no, we're not negotiating with you. So your thing is like, what is it? Is it, are the Iranians begging for a deal or are they just not negotiating with us? Because if they was begging for a deal, and guys, make it make sense here. If they was begging for a deal, then why are they continuously firing on our allies and our U.S. and our military assets? Like, why are they continuing to do that if they're begging for a deal? Like, do you see how that does not make any sense?
Every day. The problem with Iran is every time they make a deal, the people that are in charge there, they either break it or they want to change it. So it looks like they're not ready to make a deal. So they're going to continue to pay a price. And
yeah, guys, you got any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements? I'll be happy to engage with it and read it out loud. Just make sure you send in a super chat or Venmo, guys. Appreciate the support. You can see the Venmo either down here or up there, depending on how you're watching.
Every night the price gets higher and higher and higher. And that's what's happening now.
Robert Greenway is the principal architect of the Abraham Accords. Robert, you're hearing the president consider a massive attack bigger than Epic Fury. What do you think that would look like?
Well, it's good to be with you.
Sounds like us dropping a whole lot of bunker busters on Pickaxe Mountain in the hope that we can destroy the base. And I mean, if that don't work, I don't know what we're gonna do. Or we can just continuously start striking, power plants and bridges throughout Iran, while Iran starts striking, water salination centers and power plants throughout the Middle East. So it's like we're kind of continuing this war on the backs of our Gulf allies, depending on how much damage they can take, especially Kuwait. Kuwait's already rationing out energy, and water is coming next, sadly. Like, bro, it's basically unlivable without these water desalination center and their energy. But all right.
Jesse, the bad thing about working in the Middle East for a lifetime is it can be a little bit repetitive. The good news is you don't have to be Nostradamus to see what's going to happen next. The president has decimated their military, their nuclear program, has set the stage for diplomacy, made a good faith effort for reasons that Secretary Rubio just laid out. It's impossible to predict that that's going to lead to a positive outcome, which means military forces in the offing. The UK, France, and Germany have abandoned their diplomatic facilities in Tehran. Assets are pouring into theater. And it's clear the president understands exactly what has to be done to finish the job. That's what I expect. It means an escalation to finish what remains of the Iranian capacity to ensure they can't present a threat to navigation and to U.S. interests, and certainly not develop a nuclear weapon.
So all the targets that still remain, they're definitely going to get destroyed. And do you imagine more decapitation strikes?
It's certainly possible. It's interesting, that speech where Arakchi, the foreign minister, talked about an eye for an eye that the president responded to was the same one where he talked about crawling out of the rubble of the strike that killed the supreme leader. So, yes, there's more decapitation that could be in the offing, but I'm not sure it's required. Really, it's just the capability and capacity to threaten shipping and to launch retaliatory strikes like the...
Yeah, honestly, taking out the leadership isn't really necessary. Why? Because they're just going to replace each other, and it's just going to be a more hardline person. So let's just actually, deal with the people that we are dealing with right now instead of just killing them. And then, now we got to deal with a whole different group. It isn't really worth it. And what Trump is going for is, like I said, bombing them until they submit, making things as worse on the military and the Iranian population, making it as worse as possible. So maybe the Iranian people, pressure the IRGC to stop, or they just go against them. Like, this is a strategy here. The problem is, though, that most likely might not work. Because why? We're also putting damage on the Iranian people. It's not like we're just going to put damage on them and somehow they're going to join us. That's just not how it works. But all right.
Ballistic missile that hit our troops and killed 4 in Jordan over the weekend.
And we're positioned to take on the Houthis as well in the Red Sea?
Not really.
Yeah, we are. A year ago, of course, actually about 18 months ago, they were launching strikes up to 12 a day. The president ordered a strike against their infrastructure, put a stop to it. The Houthis know exactly what time it is, and I suspect that they're unlikely to escalate further.
And that's the problem, though. They're kind of missing the strategy here. The strategy is to make us spread out a little bit too far. So we're going to also strike the Houthis while also trying to take control of the Strait, while also striking in Iran, and then also providing defense for our Gulf allies and our military bases. I mean, at a certain point, we're just doing too much.
Further, but if they do, the U.S. military is capable of handling it without a doubt.
And what's he working with this Saudi nuclear pact?
Well, look, it's telling that he's making that announcement now while we're in conflict with Iran. And he's saying essentially to the region that while I'm doing this, I'm also preparing the region for what happens afterwards. And that's building on the foundation that he established in the first administration in the form of the Abraham Accords. And he's laying the foundations for that with Saudi Arabia, which is absolutely critical. And in doing so, it's a clear message to the Iranian mullahs that their day is over.
Now, I'm not going to lie. What Trump did with Saudi Arabia was like a little bit sus. I'm like, hold on, you're letting them pursue nuclear energy in a way where they can actually start enriching uranium to create a weapon. It's like, no, that's literally what we're doing. It's pretty much like the atoms for peace that we did with Iran back in the 50s. It's like, so we're going to give them, the reactor. We're going to give them the reactors. We're going to give them the centrifuges pretty much. We're in hopes that they just pursue a peaceful nuclear program. How did that work out for us last time with the Iranians? So how do you think it's going to work out with the Saudis? Especially since the Saudis are pretty much, mortal enemies of Iran. So it's kind of wild how we're going to sit there and pretend like one's not going to pursue nuclear weapons, and that's not going to encourage the other one to race towards it either. It's like, that's not a good idea what Trump did. But I mean, look, they're disguising it under the guidelines of, oh no, they're just going to have a nuclear energy program, a peaceful nuclear energy program, and most likely that's not what it's going to be. But we'll see how this turns out.
And that the accords, the United States, Israel, and our partners and allies in the region are what follows. And that foundation is being built by the master builder as we speak.
How are the Israelis going to take that, the Saudis having a nuclear program?
Well, I think as long as there's no enrichment and it's conditional upon joining the accords, I think we can get to a solution. And in the end, they want this as much as we do.
And do you think Israel joins in delivering this final blow?
Well, the president said he doesn't need them. That's certainly true, but I think it would be.
Well, actually, no. The the financial minister of Israel pretty much just told the whole world out loud how actually, no, we're in a pretty good position. We got America taking care of Iran. They said they're about to take care of Hezbollah for us. We're just going to sit back and chill and just let America do all the work. It's like, good goy type of energy. It's like, we kind of see what they're doing here. It's like, so y'all dragged us into this, and now you're just going to sit back and let us do all the work. You pretty much popped it off with Hezbollah, and now you want to sit back and let us do all the work. It's like, okay, they did it again.
A lot faster and probably more efficient if we did. They've got a tremendous amount of capability we provided. They developed themselves. It'd be great, I think, to get them in to finish it at an accelerated pace.
And how big of a factor is this timing? Oil's up over 100. We had General Kellogg say, you let an enemy hang around for too long, could be trouble.
Yeah, the critical calculation is to get things back under ideally $70 a barrel, but certainly below 80. To do that, eliminate the remaining threat. The faster, the better. That way, as voters start mail-in and the election process begins for the midterms, they're going in with a reduction in commodity prices and a little.
Here's a problem with that whole eliminate the remaining threat. Well, here's the thing. The more we escalate on Iran, the more they're going to escalate throughout the Middle East. And some of these guys aren't going to be able to produce energy at a certain point or pretty much get the oil because the oil refineries have been destroyed, energy infrastructure has been decimated, pipelines, all that good stuff. Because that's what Iran is promising to do. So, like I said, we escalate this, gas is only going to get more expensive. Like, there's no way where we escalate this and it gets cheaper. Sorry, that's not how it works. And Brent crude's already sitting at like $98. And what was it? Western Texan Intermentals. Let's see here. Yep, WTI crude is sitting at $90. Here you go. So, do you really think this is a good idea? Like, I'm honestly, honest question though for the people in the chat. Oh, if you have a disagreement, like anything like that, super chat it in. But ask yourself, is this really worth it? Because for some reason they think escalating is going to solve some things, and right now it ain't solve a damn thing. I mean, regime's still in power, still got their enrichment, still firing off missiles and drones. So, what's the plan here?
A little bit less to fill up the tank. That'd be critical, I think, to support a favorable outcome. So from a political and from an economic perspective, the faster, the better.
All right. I would agree with that, Robert. Thank you. That was great. Be sure to like and.
All right, though. Let's go ahead and get into the next video here because we got a lot to talk about tonight. But all right.
Image from NASA appears.
Just a short time ago, the president issued a new warning. He said that the U.S. will punish Iran if the Houthis, an Iranian-backed proxy group, launches any future attacks on oil ships.
Overnight, the Houthis claimed they struck two.
But see, that's the thing. That's what the Houthis are trying to do. They're trying to draw fire away from Iran, and so we're starting to focus on them. And I mean, Saudi Arabia too. Here, this is the plan to make us overextend ourselves in the Middle East.
Saudi tankers in the Red Sea. This image from NASA appearing to show at least one ship on fire. All of this pushing oil prices higher once again. Brent crude now topping $100 a barrel for the first time since back in May. CNN's Kristen Holmes is live at the White House with more. And Kristen, are we on the precipice of the president?
You know what? The only reason why prices are staying stable while the oil futures go up is because we're dumping our strategic reserves. And I'm not sure how long we can keep on doing that to keep the price down. But this is the only reason why you've seen the price not pretty much bump all the way up past $4. Some places already hit $4, but in some areas it's staying at that like $3.80, $3.90. And we're talking about for unleaded. Of course, if you got the diesel, I mean, yeah, you're already paying about that, like $4.85, $5.
Expanding this war, and would that include attacking the Houthis? Because the president seemed to give himself some wiggle room there to say, well, I'm going to punish Iran for the Houthi attacks.
Well, it certainly seems that way, just based on what the president has said. We were going to ask Carolyn Levitt that question in the press briefing, but it was cut short because of the president's activities this afternoon. One of the big questions, though, is what is the plan here? I mean, that's what you're asking overall, Jim. And this is even more severe given what we have now learned today. CNN reporting that the CIA and the Defense Intelligence Agency have recently assessed the kind of bombing that the United States is doing every single night right now is unlikely to move the Iranians' negotiating position. So what?
Yeah, so our CIA gave Trump some pretty bad news. They pretty much said, like, look, I mean, you can keep on doing this bombing, but it's not really going to do anything. And I'm pretty sure Trump was like, bro, what do you mean it's not going to do anything? We're bombing the shit out of them. And they're like, yeah, I know we are, but I mean, look, they got these underground bases, man. I mean, the Iranian people are turning more resilient. They're kind of like in it to win it at this point. So continuously bombing them is not going to make them give up. And like I said, the underground bases that they continue to make missiles and drones in to pop out and fire off at our assets in the region. So they're unlikely to give up because they can still fight back. It's like, as long as they're still able to throw a punch, they're unlikely to give up. So, I mean, unless you could take away their punches, like the missiles and drones, then they're not going to surrender because they're just going to keep on attacking. And that's just the sad reality of it.
What exactly will President Trump do to break that deadlock? And the White House, President Trump, they are keenly aware that this war is incredibly unpopular. One of the big reasons, as you mentioned, the cost of oil. I just want to show you here this graphic of the price of oil when President Trump started in office, the start of the Iran war. You can see how it started going down after that memorandum of understanding was signed, something that the White House was celebrating. But each day since, it seems to be ticking upward. And the White House officials I've talked to, they don't want to be focusing on the Iran war. They don't want to be talking about it. They understand how I've talked to, they don't.
I know, right? Like literally 298 is what everybody was dealing with. All of a sudden, Trump would enter this war and it just skyrockets. Ceasefire kind of goes down a little bit. So does inflation. And then U.S. naval blockade, boom, sends it through the roof again. Then, of course, it goes down with the talks, so with the signs of a memorandum of understanding. The memorandum of understanding gets signed. Of course, Iran controls the strait. We don't like Iran controlling the strait, so we attack them. And, well, before that, they pretty much attacked 2 vessels in the strait. And then that just sends prices skyrocketing back up. Why? Because we just want to get into a full-blown war with them again. Like, tough. Oh, guys, make sure to double tap that screen, like the video, guys. And if any question, comment, jokes, or disagreements, make sure to super chat it in or just send a gift to support, guys. Appreciate you.
Don't want to be focusing on the Iran war. They don't want to be talking about it. They understand how unpopular it is. And they also want to be talking about the economy, in part because of President Trump's recent polling on the economy. If you look at this poll, this Fox News poll among registered voters, only 24% of people believe that the condition of the economy is excellent or good, with only fair and poor being.
I mean, duh. I mean, like, kind of matches the whole we're an oligarchy situation. Because think about it, I'm pretty sure the top 3% of earners are doing quite well because, oh, guys, the Dow is over 50,000. Look at the stock market. It's like, yeah, if you look at it like that, I'm pretty sure it looks good if you got assets, which you should have assets. But here's the problem, though. For most Americans who are dealing with the affordability crisis, yeah, this is most Americans. Like, most Americans aren't really dealing too well with the rising inflation. Most Americans did not deal too well with the rising gas prices. And also most Americans are seeing now that actually prices have increased year over year. Like, but for some reason, the administration only want to show you month over month results, which they do go down a little bit month over month. But the overall during the year, prices have went up
76%. And the economy is a huge reason why President Trump was elected back into office. So it likely is also playing a role on his approval numbers, which you can see here, 39% of people only approve.
And here's the thing. This is mainly hitting him because he's so invested in AI. It's the AI that's going to fuck him on this one. Data centers, how AI is taking jobs and all this crazy stuff. And here's the thing. He's not talking about it because he's engaged in it. He's promoting it. He's invested in it. So it's really hard to sit there and talk to Trump about, yo, you know, these AI are taking jobs while he's low key like cashing in on it.
of his job that he is doing in office, where 61% now disapprove. But again, Jim,
Hey, shout out to my man Kingin. He sent 10 gems for sent a thumbs up for 10 gems. Appreciate the support, my friend.
I mean, the big question here is, what is he going to do? We know that for weeks he has been considering expanding the war. The Wall Street Journal is reporting that medics are being sent to Germany. We know that ships are being sent to the Middle East. But is he actually going to take that step? And is there anything that he can do at this point to break this deadlock?
And earlier, Kristen, the president set a new demand for this nuclear deal with Saudi Arabia. Walk us through that and tell us what it means.
Well, it certainly seems as though this threw a wrench in the entire deal.
Well, I'll be real with you. It means that Saudi's getting a nuke. Saudi's getting nukes.
And Carolyn.
Now, not really, guys. Okay, well, kind of. It may turn out like that. And the reason why I'm saying that is because we're pretty much approving them to start, enriching uranium for energy purposes. And I'm just like, how'd that work out for us last time? I'm just a little bit of pattern recognition, guys. You remember, like I said, remember when we did that with Iran in the 50s and that didn't work out and they end up, going towards a nuke, enriching past that 3%, 20% that they need for medical. Now they're at 60%. It's not a nuke, but I'm just saying though, we kind of helped them start that. Now we're going to help the Saudis do it. Like, come on now, do you hear yourself? But then let's be real. If the Saudi gets a nuke, bro, they're going to completely break away from us because they're going to no longer need us for their protection because they're going to actually have that deterrent of a nuke. So we're honestly going to lose all types of influence in the Middle East. And the Saudis are going to start doing their own thing. And I'm going to be real with you. You do not want the Saudis to start doing their own thing. I mean, look, they're our ally, but there's some duplicitous bastards. I'm going to keep it real with you. The shit that they're doing across the Middle East is not good. And then also what they allow to happen in Palestine. But it is what it is.
Levitt said as much during the briefing that he decided this condition this morning. So I'm going to show you the post that he made about the Saudi nuclear deal. It says, even though it's already been approved.
Hey, shout out to my man Anonymous. How you doing, brother? He sent the W for 10 gems. Appreciate the support, guys.
It is totally subject to Saudi Arabia joining the very respected and successful Abraham Accords. There is a lot to unpack here. One, we have no indication that Saudi Arabia.
Hey, no way. Hold on. The civil nuclear deal, there will be no enrichment of material. Yeah, that's what you think, Trump. Being made between the United States Departments of Energy and Saudi Arabia, which pertains only to non-military use, such as the ones that Iran and the UAE and others already have. Yeah, I mean, that's true. But, I mean, here's the thing, though. I mean, what makes you think that Saudi Arabia might not try to break out towards a nuke to kind of break off their independence on us for defense and Pakistan? I mean, you think Saudi Arabia want to sit there and depend on us and Pakistan for help? They don't. They rather ensure it for themselves. All right, here. It said will be approved, but is totally subject to Saudi Arabia joining the very respected and successful Abraham. They're not doing that. Bro, they're not doing that. This man is low-key trying to risk their lives. Sorry, but they're not going to join the Abraham Accords unless you answer the Palestinian question. If you try to force them into the Abraham Accords just to be like, oh, well, we'll let you get nuclear energy. Yeah, I'm be real with you. I'm not sure if they're going to do that. And if they do that, then they will invoke terrorism upon them, especially from their own community and probably from Iran as well. It's like, that's the thing. You can't really get the Abraham Accord solved unless you answer the Palestinian question. Right now, I think the best option is like a two-state solution because, they don't want to lose their Jewish state, which, I mean, that's fair. That's honestly fair. Now, let's see here. The United States is not opposed to civil, non-enriched nuclear facilities. Thank you for your attention to this matter, President Donald J. Trump. And, bro, you are setting yourself up for an L.
Abraham Accords. There is a lot to unpack here. One, we have no indication that Saudi Arabia is willing to join the Abraham Accords. They had their own conditions on Israel, which Israel has said that they will not meet if they were going to normalize relations with Israel. It's unclear what this does. Carolyn Levitt saying that the deal was still moving forward, but also said it was dead if, in fact, they didn't sign up for the Abraham Accords. We have not learned what caused President Trump to make this shift, to add this condition to this civil nuclear deal, although it does seem likely there was an enormous amount of unease in the Senate. There was a lot of media coverage about this deal, a lot of of pushback.
Because everybody knows to join the Abraham Accords, bro, I'm gonna be real with you. The last time Saudi Arabia tried to go and get into the Abraham Accords, that's one of the reasons why Hamas did October 7th. Like, that's one of the 3 reasons why they did it. I mean, it was because Saudi Arabia was going into the Abraham Accords. It was also because peaceful protest was no longer working. And of course, religious reasons, because Israel was bringing in the red heifers or the red cows to sacrifice, destroy the elect Hamas, build the third temple, and bring in their Antichrist. I know a lot, but this is really what they're trying to do
On the deal overall. So this is now a condition that it's unclear why they went through the process of approving it, signing it, and now they're saying it's going to be dead if they don't meet these conditions, which we have not gotten answers on if they've said they will in any way.
Yeah. And is a tweet legally binding or whatever they signed in that agreement?
Right.
Kristen Holmes, thanks so much. We're joined now by former Defense Secretary and CIA Director during the Obama administration, Leon Panetta. Sir, good to have you on the show.
Good to be with you, Jim.
So first on the Iran war, because the Trump administration and the president seem to believe they have control here, that they could dial up or dial down military action as they need. But it's actually Iran and its allies that have now expanded this conflict once again to another front, the Houthis attacking shipping in the Red Sea. And I just wonder, from your perspective, who has the upper hand right now in this conflict?
I mean, let's be real. We're dealing with low munitions. So for us to sit there and even try to deal with the Houthis, we're literally going to have to tell either the Israelis, you guys got to get involved because we can't waste our munitions on all of these fronts. Or we're going to have to tell the Saudis, I mean, look, dog, y'all going to have to defend yourselves. And they're going to look at us like, bro, that's what we literally pay you for. And I'm be like, yeah, I know. But you got to understand here. I mean, bro, we're dealing with Iran. So you kind of see the problem here. We can't really engage with the Houthis too deeply because we're going to take away from our mission in Iran, which we're not really doing too well in right now. So you think dividing our munitions up just to take on the Houthis is going to help? Of course not. Honestly, it's the same strategy that Hezbollah employed after October 7th to draw away Israel's fire from the Hamas to pretty much to them to start defending northern Israel. It's the same strategy.
Well, history tells us that forever wars do not end well. And I think that's the box we're in right now. Whether it was Vietnam, whether it was Iraq, whether it's Afghanistan, or whether it's Iran right now, the problem is that there really is no clear objective that the president is trying to put his arms around. So he continues military attacks, which intelligence makes pretty clear is not going to move Iran. And at the same time, the American people are paying a very heavy price as a result of oil prices going sky high and the cost of living increasing as much as it is. Mm-hmm. And so he's basically in a box right now, trying to figure out if there's a way out. And frankly, I think right now, this country...
I mean, there's really no way out where he looks good. It's either he just pretty much walks away, let the Iranians get what they want, and, he pretty much basically loses the war, or he escalates and pretty much risks our economy in the entire Middle East. It's and the best option is for him to walk away and basically take an L.
Is in deep trouble in terms of figuring some kind of strategy that can end this war. It does not look well at this point.
So this attack was on Saudi ships. How do you see that? Is it at all a response to this Saudi-U.S. nuclear deal?
Well, it's hard to tell. You cannot ignore the fact that the Houthis are now trying to basically establish a blockade on oil passing through the Red Sea. And with the Straits of Hormuz closed and the Houthis now trying to block oil going through the Red Sea, what you're talking about is even a greater impact in terms of the price of oil.
So, and here's the thing, though, it's a problem, but it doesn't really it's not like the Strait of Hormuz where you ain't got nowhere else to go. It's not pretty much you're cooked. You can go another way and you can just go ahead and go through the Suez Canal instead of taking the Bab el Mandeb Strait. So we got options here. So instead of taking the Strait, you can just go ahead and just take the Suez Canal, which pretty much goes through Egypt right here. So, and this is what everybody's doing right now. Instead of just risking their life and, possibly getting struck by the Houthis, they're just going to go ahead and just take the Suez Canal, which is definitely a smart move. And of course, as you see, things are getting a bit held up right here as a lot of these guys are deciding what to do. Are they going to try to go through, deal with the Houthis, or take the extra cost of travel to go through the Suez Canal? But all right, though, let's go ahead and get right back to it. Whoop, here we go.
So the president really doesn't have much alternative but to be able to go after the Houthis in order to try to interfere with their blockade. If he doesn't do that, then we're going to continue to sit here with what I think is a potential oil crisis that could really hurt our economy.
The trouble is the administration has tried before to eliminate the Houthi threat and attacked Houthi positions and shot down Houthi drones with multi-million-dollar missiles and so on, and determined that it really wasn't worth it. Either the financial cost, which was enormous, but also the cost of U.S. munitions, which have been further depleted by the ongoing war with Iran. Is there a good military operation for dealing with the Houthi threat to the Red Sea?
Jim, you're familiar with what happened with the Houthis in the past, and essentially it was another one of these forever wars where we decided to go after the Houthis. The Saudis went after the Houthis. The UAE went after the Houthis. And in the end, none of that worked. The Houthis continued to attack ships in the Red Sea. And so I don't see a viable...
Guys, let's go over this information on where this is all coming from, right? So this comes from these guys right here. The Center for Strategic and International Studies. And I'll be real with you, it's like a sales team for the Pentagon. It pretty much keeps track of our munitions, and it tells the Pentagon, well, what you need to buy because we're running low on this, that, and the third. And that's pretty much what it's all about. And this is what they're saying. Concerns about the status of U.S. munition inventories have intensified as reports emerge about high expenditures of Tomahawk, Patriots, and other missiles in the Iran war. As Operation Epic Fury remains paused in a shaky ceasefire, there's an opportunity to assess whether the U.S. military nears the point of going Winchester or running out of munitions. Oh, shit, of ammunition. Analysts of several key munitions show that the United States have enough missiles to continue fighting this war under any plausible scenario. The risk, which will persist for many years, lies in future wars. So they're pretty much saying is that we're sacrificing pretty much future war for Iran, war with Iran. So if China ever wants to go ahead and take out Taiwan, we're not going to be able to stop them after this. If Russia wants to continue to go full blitz on Ukraine, we won't be able to give Ukraine anything after this. And I don't even agree with supporting Ukraine. I'm just going to be real with you. I don't. So I wouldn't mind that. But China pretty much taking Taiwan, I do mind that. I do. Here's the problem. Like Tomahawk missile, $2.6 million. Estimated pre-war inventory, we got a good amount. Estimated used in war, over 1,000. Delivery timeline, it take about over 2 years or so. Well, no, that's way over 2 years. That's like 4 years. It takes like 4 years. But yeah, you kind of see the problem.
Strategy here to ultimately be able to shut down what the Houthis are doing. I think the only alternative for the administration is to get back to the negotiating table in some way to be able to try to address a way out of this war. Attacks, bombs, blockades, other approaches. It can look like the president's taking the right action, but in the end, it is not going to result in...
Oh, yeah, and just to make sure we read the rest of the assessment here, because remember, guys, this is pretty much coming from the Center for Strategic and International Studies, like I said, which is like a sales team for the Pentagon. But let me go ahead and read this last part right here, though. It said, in the 39 days of the air and missile campaign before the ceasefire, U.S. forces heavily used the 7 munitions in Table 1, which I just showed you. For 4 of them, the United States have may have expended more than half of the pre-war inventory. So the table that I showed you, bro, with the numbers, cut that in half, and that's about how much we got right now. Rebuilding to pre-war levels for the 7 munitions will take from 1 to 4 years as missiles in the pipeline are delivered. There's your problem, guys. We kind of cooked ourselves for war with Iran. And now we can't stop China. We most likely won't be able to stop China. And, we won't be able to give much to Ukraine. And Lord knows NATO ain't going to give us back those missiles. They already bought them.
Any kind of significant change to the current situation. We're in a box. We got to figure out a way to get out of it.
How do they get back to the table and have leverage? How would you do that?
Yeah.
I think there's only one way I've thought of to achieve any kind of leverage in dealing with Iran, and that relates to the Straits of Hormuz. It was a mistake in the MOU to imply, and it did strongly imply, that Iran would control the Straits of Hormuz. That was a bad mistake.
Yeah, it did.
And the result is they continue.
Yeah, it did say that Iran will regulate the strait. And for some reason, we thought that, they're going to regulate the opening of the strait. Yeah, but also going to regulate the transiting of the strait and the tolling of the strait. But they changed the word toll to service fee. So that's pretty much what we were dealing with through the ceasefire, as prices were falling down and all that good stuff. Because Iran was pretty much leading people through the strait, or leading these vessels through the strait, while also charging that service fee. And when we try to open up the Omanian side of the strait, that's where things kind of went off the rails, because we pretty much tried to subvert Iran, and they just started trying. And for that, they started attacking these vessels that were taking the Omanian side of the strait. And this is why we pretty much popped off the war again.
Continue to use that as leverage to get back at the United States. What the United States has to do in order to get any kind of leverage here is it has to take control of the Straits of Hormuz and be able to control the free access that is necessary in order to be able to restore our economy. If the president doesn't take any action to be able to take control of the Straits of Hormuz, then I think we're only left with the hope that somehow we're going to get back to a negotiating table that is now not only going to consider what happens in the nuclear area, but is going to consider what happens to the Straits of Hormuz as well. That's going to be a very complicated negotiation.
And from a military perspective, the possibility of a ground element and all the danger that a ground element would involve. Leon Panetta, thanks so much.
All right, now let's go ahead and get into the next video here. Trump announces a 10 to 12.5% forced labor tariff for 60 countries. Now that is freaking hilarious. You know what? Look, I'm all about it. I'm all for it. Shout out. Shout out. About time we caught them up under slavery. Well, I'm be real with you. The way they extort their own people with low wages, and then sometimes pretty much get people into slavery. Like how they were doing that to some of the Taiwanese people, getting them on these ships or these fish boats, and then pretty much force them to work on the fish boats. And then if they don't want to work, they'll be severely beaten and thrown off the ship. Yeah, I know, right? That's going on today.
Which is a 10% import levy that can only last 150 days. As we've gotten closer to day 150, the Trump administration has not just been standing on the sidelines when it comes to the future of their tariff agenda. Earlier this week, President Trump announced an additional 50% tariffs on what totals close to $20 billion in Canadian imports, items such as wine and hockey sticks and cement. President claiming the duties will offset Canadian mistreatment of the U.S. auto, dairy, and alcohol industries. Those are scheduled to go into effect on August 19th. President also posted that starting August 1st, quote,
I don't know about, we really don't need their alcohol, but I will tell you one thing, we do need that cement. You tripping. We kind of do need the cement, Trump. Cement prices are high. This is why building houses are so expensive, because of the cost of cement. So pretty much cutting off their cement, I'm not sure if that's the best idea right now, considering that we do need to make the materials for building a house cheaper in order to bring housing costs down and start building new houses as well. Come on now, you're kind of effing it up here, but let's see how this goes.
Quote, All
I'm in support of tariffs, but if used in the right way. And doing, I mean, look, like tariffing their alcohol, I mean, who cares about Canadian alcohol? Like, you'll be okay. But the cement and pretty much like taking that out of the supply or pretty much making it more expensive, yeah, that's not going to do well.
all generic
You know, unless we're out here making cement cheaper than Canada, which I'm not sure. So maybe somebody in the chat knows.
drugs being brought into the United States will have a tariff of 0% for a 2-year period of time, unquote, and then a 100% tariff in 2028 and an eye-popping 200% in 2029. So that's a 1 to 200% tariff on cheaper drugs that will fall upon people such as you. Separately,
all right, let's read this over. He says, effective August 1st, 2026, all generic drugs being brought into the United States will continue to have a tariff of 0% for a 2-year period of time, after which the tariff will be raised to 100% for a 1-year period of time and 200% thereafter. This is done in order to reshore generic pharmaceutical production into America. I mean, yeah, that's the plan here. And I do think that Jake Tapper is being a bit dishonest here. It's like, yeah, he's pretty much giving them some time. Like, look, I'll let you get your sales off, but you got to make sure that you're bringing some of this manufacturing and production over here, or we're just going to increase the tariff until where you can't really sell here. I mean, and I'll be real with you, they're most likely going to bend a knee and bring their production back here, just like AstraZeneca did.
On cheaper drugs that will fall upon people such as you.
So,
separately, back in June, U.S. Trade Representative Greer proposed issuing 10 to 12.5% tariffs on 59 nations and the European Union using a legal authority known as Section 301 over the, quote, failure to address the importation of goods made with forced labor.
Yo, and you know what's so crazy is like Australia. I was like, all right, I could believe a lot about South America, especially over here. Yeah, I could believe that in South America. That makes sense. A lot of forced labor in South America, a lot of forced labor in Mexico. Not so sure about Canada, though. I mean, that's a bit wild. Australia, not so sure. Parts of Europe, maybe. The Northern Africa, oh, for sure. Throughout the Middle East, oh, hell yeah. And, of course, all through India and China, oh, hell yeah. Oh, no, they're the most egregious offenders. And maybe a bit through Russia and the rest of here. But I'm going to be real with you guys. I mean, to put it on Australia and China, China deserves it, but put it on Australia and Canada, I don't know about that.
So let's talk about it. U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer joins.
I mean, unless they're counting the undocumented immigrants there that are probably working on the field, you know, for low wages and being extorted, then, I mean, bro, you can catch just for forced labor as well.
Now from Mexico City. Thanks so much for joining us. Talk us through the details of this new tariff plan that has to do with forced labor.
Thanks for having me, Jake, and for the opportunity to explain what's going on. So for over 100 years, the United States has had a law on the books prohibiting the import of goods made with forced labor. This is common sense, and we've enforced this law to prohibit it. What seems like common sense, I think, to you and me, others haven't done. In other countries, no one really has these types of laws. And even in that small handful of countries that have them, they don't really enforce it. And so we have gone to the world frankly, over years and across administrations to try to get other countries to act on this. Finally, we have put our foot down and we have told countries, you need to take action. You need to prohibit the import of goods made with forced labor, and you need to enforce these laws so that we all have a level playing field.
I mean, so what are you trying to do? Pretty much trying to raise the labor costs in other countries, pretty much. It's like, it's either you're going to stop using forced labor and stop making these people work for free, or pretty much stop extorting them and stop making them work for, like, I don't know, pennies on the dollar an hour. Like, you know, there's people literally working for 70 cents an hour. So, I mean, if y'all stop that, then let's be real. You're not going to be the most enticing to go to, especially with these big businesses, which is a bit wild because, I mean, should we like also condemn our businesses well for, you know, actually going out there to take advantage of this forced labor? Look, be real with you. Everybody takes advantage of the forced labor to get these low prices. Somebody got to be a slave, guys. Slavery ain't go away. How you think you got low prices? Through slavery.
And so we're taking action to do that. And if countries are on the right path, they have a certain level of.
Bro, we got slaves here too. They're called undocumented immigrants.
tariff, about 10%. And if they're not on the right path, it's a slightly higher tariff of 12.5%.
So it sounds great. How does one?
Hey, and shout out to my man Kenny Pera. He sent he sent a gold coin for 10 gems. Appreciate the support, my friend. Oh, guys, you have any question, comment, jokes, or disagreements? Feel free to super chat it in. If you just want to support the show, you can go always send the gift. Appreciate the support, guys, and make sure you double tap that screen, like the video, and smash that like button.
Undetermined which countries are using forced labor, because I assume the pushback from other countries is this isn't forced labor. We just have a different labor market, and people, work for lower wages, but no one's forced. Who decides what forced labor is?
That is fair, though. Because, how do you decide you're extorting them because you're paying them too low, or you're paying them lower than an American? Is that really extortion, or is that really force, or is that just all these guys can afford? But here's the thing, though. For the same thing these guys are doing for maybe 70 cents, or let's be more realistic, maybe $4.95 an hour, we're getting paid $14, $20, $25 an hour for. If we was to make all these other countries raise their pay, I'm be real with you, you would see how a lot of these corporations are going to start switching up. They're and I ain't gonna tell you they most likely I ain't saying they're gonna come back here, but trust me, they're gonna start shuffling to all these countries, to the countries who have the lowest pay. You're really gonna start seeing what they about.
Is
slavery.
So really, each country does. So we're not really going into each of these countries, and we're not assessing whether they have forced labor in their borders. What we're trying to do is we're trying to stop trade in those types of goods. So in the United States, we have processes, we have agencies that go through, do investigations, and we identify companies and countries that have a prevalence of forced labor, and we stop those goods at the border, and we don't.
Oh, guys, and if you don't know that, we got probably more than 50 million slaves in the world right now, bro. You might want to go out there and actually read some different news instead of what you're just seeing in American media, because guys, I think I seen somebody in the chat say nobody's a slave, bro. I mean, dude, do you even look into what's going on in the world? We got kids in cobalt mines picking pretty much so you can get a cheap electric car, picking lithium and cobalt so your ass can drive a Tesla for just a little bit cheaper. You don't understand that? I mean, come on. I think we always made the joke about the Chinese sweatshops and the reason why we're able to get our stuff so cheap from China. Really? But okay.
Don't let them in. Other countries don't have these processes. So we're telling them, you need to establish this process. You need to go, even if you're a country that probably doesn't have forced labor yourself, if you're allowing the import of goods made with forced labor, that makes it harder for my goods to compete, because we're following labor rules in the US. We have labor unions. We have protections for our workers. True. And so we're trying to get every country to have the same kinds of protections we do to make sure that trade in forced labor isn't occurring, so that our workers, our exporters, our companies don't have to compete against that on an unlevel playing field.
I mean, he's not wrong though. And here's the thing though. So here's the thing: is either we make these other countries raise their wages. So like I said, I mean, what we get paid for $15, $20 an hour here, bro, they got guys in Mexico, they're only getting paid $4.95. And you can literally look this up and see the disparity between American wages and, of course, wages in other countries. And this is literally what these companies are paying. And this is why they move a lot of their operation outside of the U.S. to take advantage of their low labor costs, and sometimes damn near free labor costs, depending what industry you're in. So what are we what's the deal? Is either we drop our wages to make these companies come back to be more enticing, but nobody's going to do that, or we make these other countries raise their wages so we're all on an even playing field and everybody's getting paid fairly, somewhat.
On a philosophical basis, no doubt forced labor is an issue. It's horrific. It's been one for as long as humans have been alive, probably. Mm-hmm. If this is a case that the president truly cares about this issue, then why not introduce this plan earlier, 2025?
Well, I would just say, Jake, so in 2018, when we redid NAFTA, one of the new provisions we forced Canada and Mexico to take was their own prohibition on forced labor. So in USMCA, we obligated them to do that. A few years later, we're finding that they aren't actually enforcing that. So they're included in this action. And then over the past year, as we've done new trade agreements with parties, we have 10 agreements on reciprocal trade. we've been requiring these countries to commit to implementing these laws. And even within the past week or two, we've seen a number of countries come in to implement these laws. So this is something that's gone on for a long time. It's not about something that happened a few months ago. It's a bipartisan concern, and American law provides for it. The president, since his first term, has put it into his trade agreements to try to get countries to do this. So unfortunately, it's not new. We've been trying for a long time. And finally, we're not in favor of sweatshops, and we don't want anyone else to be in favor of it either.
So this is a tariff against countries.
But that's how we get our low prices, though. Like, we wouldn't have these low prices if we ain't had sweatshops and, a good amount of slaves around the world, and we have kids mining, dangerous materials. I'm like, let's be real here, or dangerous minerals. Let's just keep it real. Is like the reason why we have these low prices, or reason why even our food cost is somewhat low. I'm be real with you. Like, if we get rid of all the undocumented immigrants and we start making Americans work there, or we give amnesty to these immigrants, now they got to pay them an American wage, prices do go up. Like, guys, our prices are somewhat artificially low due to forced labor, due to extortion on wages, like all that. Like, that's what our pricing is built on. And if that was to ever go away, I mean, dog, you're gonna see a crazy increase in pricing. Hopefully our wages keep up with it.
If they don't have laws against the import of products made by forced labor, is that right?
That's exactly right. That's exactly what it is.
So can you name countries that manufacture goods with forced labor? I mean, I can think of some off the top of my head, but I mean, we know of places where, sneakers are made and smartphones are made, and it's suspected to be forced labor. So name some countries.
Sure. So, for example, just a couple of weeks ago, U.S. Customs and Border Protection came out with findings of a company in Jordan where there were forced labor conditions found. And so the Customs and Border Protection put out a statement that said, we're going to withhold entry of these items. So that's one example. Malaysia is another one. A couple of years ago, there were some findings that some of the palm oil orchards or groves in Malaysia had that. And so customs.
Now, honestly, Jake Tapper's being willfully ignorant. Like, guys, you can look up all types of forced labor, like stories, and in all countries, in almost every industry. I just gave you an example with the shrimp industry, how they'll get these guys from Thailand to come over, and they'll get them on the boat, and they'll just enslave them. They'll just start whooping their ass and be like, yeah, if you don't work on this boat and do what we say, we're going to beat you to death and throw you off the sea. This is real. This is going on. So he's being willfully ignorant for no reason. It's kind of irritating. It's like, dog, no, this is a real problem. Outside of Trump using it as, Trump trying to use it as a case for tariffs, this is a real humanitarian problem.
Border Protection regularly does these investigations. And so those are some U.S. findings. One thing that's interesting is Jordan and Malaysia are both countries that agreed as part of their deals with us over the past year to implement.
And here's the thing, though. A lot of people have that idea of, well, if you bring production back, the consumers are going to incur the cost. Yeah, but they're also going to get the jobs. But if we let all these jobs go outside of the U.S., then we decimate our entire middle class. So what are you saying? That's what I'm saying. Some people just don't really understand, honestly, how things work. If you honestly just think that saying, oh, well, if you bring production back, it's going to incur costs. Yeah, but if we let it go, then we're decimating the entire middle class. So, yeah, we can't allow that to happen.
New forced labor laws. So this is really encouraging for us to see progress after many years.
If we are taking action to shut down or to try to eliminate as much as possible forced labor, why would we not just as a country say, okay, Jordan.
Shout out to my man Josh for sending the Uncle Alert, man. Appreciate the support for 440 joules. You get a celebration. All right, though, let's go and get right back into it.
And Malaysia, you now have 200% tariffs until you pass laws that eliminate forced labor in your country, instead of what this path is, which is putting tariffs on countries that don't have laws against the importation of products from places like Malaysia or Jordan.
Because we have an existing law like that, Jake, and instead of saying, if you don't eliminate forced labor, we just prohibit it. So if we find...
And guys, like, bro, let me give you a really good example, right? So let's get into shrimp boat slavery, okay? Yeah, I know, right? Shrimp boat slavery. Pretty much is modern shrimp boat slavery refers to the pervasive use of human trafficking, forced labor, debt bondage in the global seafood industry. So, guys, the reason why your seafood is so low and it's not any higher is because we got people that are pretty much being human trafficked, forced labor, and put into debt bondage across the board, not just shrimp, but in other seafoods as well. Like extensive investigation by journalists and human rights group have revealed that a significant portion of global shrimp supply chain relies on enslaved migrant workers to catch the trash fish that is ground into feeds for farmed shrimp. I mean, do you see the problem here, guys? And trust me, this is in other industries as well. That's why it's kind of killing me what Jake Tapper is doing right now. It's like, dog, don't be willfully ignorant about this. I know it's F Trump, but this is also a humanitarian crisis as well.
That a company or goods from Jordan are made with forced labor, we prohibit it. There are goods that come in.
Shout out AJ for sending a thumbs up for 10 gems. Appreciate the support.
And from China, where there's forced labor, we prohibit those goods. So we already have that law, and that's the part of the point of this investigation is we're actually doing that in the United States. We're the leaders on this issue. But if I'm shipping into a third country, even a place like Australia, where maybe they don't have a robust law like this, they might accept goods made with forced labor from China or Malaysia or wherever. And then our goods exported from the U.S. have to compete with that. That's not fair to our workers. It's not fair to our unions. And it
really isn't. It's like to have to sit there and watch these companies leave out because they can, instead of just paying your American worker, I don't know, $25 plus. No, let's just go overseas and let's just go ahead and pay people, I don't know, $3, $4. It's like, we can't compete with that. And here's the thing, these countries are doing that on purpose. They're doing that and driving down their wages so we can't compete with that. We're not going to drive down wages to $4.95 to compete with Mexico. We're not going to drive it down to $2.95 to compete with China. Are you tripping? But, I mean, we only got two options here. It's either you guys take that major pay cut or they raise their wages. But you can't have it both ways.
That's why we've had Democrats and Republicans for many years call for enforcement action on this very issue.
But you don't actually think that the United States doesn't import products that were made with forced labor? Of course we do.
Well, Customs and Border Protection has a very...
Which you could... The other countries could pretty much ban our food and say that's forced labor. Like, bro, we got undocumented immigrants working on farms, some in pretty good conditions, some in the worst of conditions. So, I'm just kind of like, who are we to judge when you guys pretty much, especially the Republicans, are pretty much saying, oh, no, we want to keep the undocumented immigrants as long as we use them for cheap labor on our construction sites and our farms. Yeah, we'll keep them as long as we can use them as slaves. Hotels, roofing, and we underpay them and all that good stuff. As long as they can be there for that and they're useful, they can stay, which most undocumented immigrants are.
Robust division that is focused on this, where they will investigate companies, they stop them. I mean, that is the law. So we do that. Do things slip through? They probably do. But we have a very robust investigation. You can look back and you can look at articles from the past few years of solar panels being stopped at the border, car batteries being stopped at the border because they're suspected of having been produced using forced labor in China and other places. Mm-hmm. So this is something where the United States has actually been really ahead of the curve, again, across administrations. Biden enforced this. President Trump enforced it in his first term, and now it's something that we regularly do. And I understand your surprise. You would expect that other countries do this, and they don't. And we're trying to get them to.
Hey, shout out to my man Monty. It's actually crazy, dog. I ain't gonna lie. I thought you was pretty pissed at me for a while, but shout out. I love you too, buddy. I love you too. Even though you do be getting me salty sometimes, it's all good. It's all good. What can I say? I just had to step away because I ain't want to be that pissed off at you. What can I say? But shout out to my man Monty, though, because you deserve a celebration for that. But all right, though, let's go ahead and get back to it. Because I ain't gonna lie, bringing up this forced labor, the forced labor is rich. It really is. It's like, we do it too, but I'm gonna be real with you, though. This is something that we do need to hop on top of. And the reason why we don't hop on top of it, because a lot of our corporations also engage in it as well. And we also start to understand that, well, damn, we want to keep prices low and not increase them. I mean, We just can't like make everybody, raise their wages. Like, I'm sorry, guys, but we do got to figure out a way with this here. Like, we can't just have these corporations gut the middle class so they can go to another country and take advantage of their cheap labor while leaving us stranded. And all we got is what? Cheap prices while nobody got jobs to take advantage of these cheap prices. Do you see the problem here, guys? But all right. Let's get back to it. Oh, and shout out to my man Monty. He says, I can chew you out and still love you, man. That's what friends are. I'll never be so mad that I don't consider you a friend. Oh, no, for real. Hey, man, I appreciate that. Shout out to my man Monty. And of course, you get another one. And shout out to my man Monty. And trust me, bro, I already know. It's just that I already know how you are and I am. And when we butt heads and all that good stuff, especially when it's on Twitter, oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of got it. I was like, you know what? Let's just step away for a little bit before we just start going at each other's neck even further. So, but trust me, dog, it's all good. It is all good. I'm not mad. But I do appreciate you for tuning in, bro. Truly do. And guys, let's make sure to double tap that screen and like the video, guys, and let's go ahead and get right back into it.
Take the same view as sweatshops that we have. We don't approve of it.
Mm-hmm. On the matter of what the president announced the other day on social media, can you explain the wisdom of taxing?
A lot, man. We might need some sweatshops out here. We might need some sweatshops. Put the kids on the farm and put them in the sweatshops, bro. We're going to take them off the iPad. They're going into sweatshops, people. That's what we got to do, man. It's how we got to compete out here in the world stage. I'm playing, guys.
Generic drugs imports at up to 200%. That's going to hurt a lot of sick Americans who are struggling with brand name drug prices. And
I'll be like, come on, bro, really? No. By the time he gets to there, they have not moved their production over here to America, then they're kind of cooking themselves. So most likely to not hurt their bottom line, which is their profits, which is their sales, they're most likely going to move a good amount of their production, pharmaceutical production, into America. Yeah, so this is done in order to reshore generic pharmaceutical production into America. This is why he's doing it. Jake Tapper's being a bit disingenuous by leaving that out. Like, this is the overall plan, to bring back manufacturing into America. Agree with it or not, that is the plan. It's not about making things more expensive on your grandma's medication. Like, come on now.
And can't afford brand name drugs and can't afford that tariff, that tax.
And that's why that type of tariff doesn't come in for several years. The point is, a lot of these generic drugs we're talking about, Jake, that are so important, and you're exactly right, they're coming from China, they're coming from India, but we want to make more of those here. And so what the president has laid out.
And guys, if you actually see how China makes these medicines, okay, I'm gonna be real with you, it's actually pretty cool, but they don't get paid that much. In India, it's actually worse than China. I've actually heard the conditions in India when it comes to their pharmaceutical market and all the lack of regulations that they have, it gets pretty bad. And a lot of the precursors for fentanyl also comes out of India as well, which nobody wants to talk about because I don't know why. I guess because they're an ally, but yeah. And shout out to my man Monty. He says, I'm just keeping the engagement up. Any comments is good for the algorithm. Man, I feel you on that, but bro, it's almost been impossible to grow on X lately. It's like even the bigger creators are pretty much saying like, I don't know what's going on, but like the algorithm is just fugazi all of a sudden. But I'm gonna keep going on X because it's really good for news and all that good stuff, and to put your ideas out there. But as far as growth on X goes, it is damn near impossible. I'm not saying that if you want to go on X and try to be a creator on it, I'm not saying you shouldn't try. I'm just letting you know what you're getting yourself into. Like, because it ain't nothing easy. And shout out AJ for sending a silver star for 2 gems, and Asher for sending in an Uncle Alert. You know what, the Uncle Alert is kind of wild because I could still consider myself big bro instead of Unc, but it is what it is. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get into the next video here. Trump considers an Iran attack bigger than ever before, because he said he's going after Pickaxe Mountain within hopes to pretty much take out the nuclear facility under that mountain. And the problem is that, well, here's the thing. U.S. officials are coming out pretty much saying to Trump, like, we don't know if we can get this mountain. And I already know what you're saying, like, but said, bro, we got bunker busters. And I'm like, yeah, I know, right? We do. And they're saying that we're not even sure if the bunker busters can actually get through the mountain and successfully destroy that facility, which is a huge problem. It's like, okay, so how do we take care of these underground facilities? Well, boots on the ground, which we all don't want to do. We really don't. But I mean, the way it's looking and the way Trump is escalating things, it does sound like he wants to make them surrender. And the only way to really do that now is to put boots on the ground. And we're going to need probably like close to 1 million people to 1 million men just to honestly take out Iran, like successfully to take it over where we don't got to worry about the regime again. But you also got to be okay with the amount of lives that will be lost in that engagement. It's like, and I know what, I don't think anybody's okay with that, honestly.
Pay up.
Except, well, unless you're in Israel. Unless you're an Israeli politician, I mean, yeah, they're okay with it. They saying it out loud that they're okay with it. So it's okay. So unless you're them, nobody wants this.
That's what Trump is demanding of Iran as it launches new strikes tonight. In a post Trump just put out, he said, quote, please let this statement serve to represent until further.
No, Monty, like, I agree with you on that. Like, I agree with where they're going with this. Like, I agree with you on the direction. It's just how they're going about it. Because, and shout out to my man Monty, he says everything in this administration is about making America the big dog again. And trust me, I get that. And I want that for this country. But this is where me and you are going to disagree, that this whole Iran war is kind of like taking that off course. Like, as much as we want to tackle affordability and all this good stuff, that's not happening with the Iran war. And it's kind of hurting Trump's chances of maintaining, well, any type of real power. He could be a lame duck president come the midterms because of this war, because of how it's dragging out. Like, that's what's going to piss me off. And like you always hear me say, is like, bro, everybody's going to be talking about how to, oh, no, what you're going to do, vote left. Oh, the left is going to take over and do all this leftist wild stuff. And they are. We know they are. So why are we doing this? So that they'll fuck up everything that we've been working on. And trust me, I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but if we let the Dems take over midterms, everything we did will be for naught. Like, it'll be like it almost didn't even effing matter. And I don't want that, but it's looking like we're heading towards that reality. And who knows? Who knows? Maybe we'll get a moderate Dem and maybe we'll see somewhat of change, but I doubt it. I doubt it. But I do hope for, though. And shout out AJ for sending the press F for 10 gems. And shout out to my man Monty. Not worth it. We don't want boots on the ground for a slugfest. Yeah, exactly. Like, well, yeah, we don't want to really have a slugfest with the Iranians. And like I said, I'm not saying that we're going to lose. We won't lose. But best believe it ain't going to be no easy fight, though. Like, it's not going to just be a one hit. We just walking away.
Notice that from this point forth, any and all damages done to ships, cargo, or anything related thereto will be paid for by Iranian money that the United States has in its possession and controls. These damages may be very substantial, but nevertheless, this is the fair and equitable thing to do. Now, it's worth noting that this is the same man who said he was going to give Iran its money back as part of the MOU, right? That was the whole thing. He was giving them this money back. He actually said this.
It's not our money, it's their money. And we froze it at a certain point in time.
It's not our money, it's their money. Those are his words. Now, Trump's claim about...
Yeah, but now he's talking about, you know what? F them. We're about to use their money to fund the military. Yo, I was like, hey, yo, this man Trump is wilding right now. But that is low-key gangster. I ain't even go lie. Once again, Trump coming in with this type of vibe.
Stole that shit. That's what I do, nigga. Fuck, nigga, I stole that shit. And I stole it. Like, but niggas don't understand. I talk facts. Vlad, I talk facts.
Oh, you're right.
I
don't even deny it. That's cool.
I talk facts. What deny? What, nigga? Give me that, nigga. You don't know what to do with that.
Okay.
You know when a nigga got a girl, her shit fat? Bro, you don't know what to do with that. Give me that.
Man, you know you need billions for a war and Congress don't want to do nothing for you. Man, bro, you look at them, those Iranian funds, and you said, man, give me that, man. Give me that, bro. They don't know what to do with that. They're going to fund terrorism.
Where the money's going to come comes after he has just leveled another massive threat, telling Axios, quote, I am considering a massive attack, bigger than ever before. I am close to making a decision. We're all set for it. What are you hearing about where his head is tonight? And frankly, how quickly he keeps changing his mind?
Well, Aaron, I mean, as you said, it's 5 months and counting, and the end is not anywhere in sight. First of all, you have Secretary of State Marco Rubio saying things like Iran is begging to get to the table, something we've heard from President Trump, too. But then President Trump today saying he doesn't think Iran is ready for a deal, and going further than that, saying they need more of the same. Well, more of the same likely is referring to the fact that we've had 12 consecutive nights of bombings in Iran, but are reporting today that the CIA and the DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency, have recently assessed that this kind of bombing that the U.S. is doing every single night is unlikely to move Iran's negotiating position. So what?
I mean, exactly. Like, it's kind of wild, but hold on now. Let me get into Monty's super chat real quick. He said, I learned long ago. Don't worry about what other people who are always against you think about you. Don't worry about what the Dems complain about. They were always going to complain. And ain't that the truth? It's like, that is so true. It's like, the Dems are always going to complain, but let's not pretend. I'm going to be real with you. Let's not pretend like they don't bring up some good points sometimes. Once you get past all the TDS, then you get to the good points. You're like, okay, we can address those. Now, about Donald Trump being a pedophile, sex offender, and the Antichrist, we can leave all that to the side. But your arguments are somewhat legit. Sometimes, when you leave out the TDS. Oh, yeah. Guys, if you have any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, you can go ahead and super chat it in like my man Monty, or you can go ahead and send in a Venmo as well, guys. Let's go ahead and get right back into it. In about a couple minutes here, about the next video, I'm going to go ahead and open up the call-in.
What exactly is it that President Trump is trying to do? And we've heard this kind of rhetoric from him before. Now, when we've talked to U.S. officials, they have said that Trump has yet to sign off on the most aggressive military action. So is what he's trying to do get Iranians back to the negotiating table? It's really unclear at this point. But as you know...
No, he's trying to get these guys to submit. To pretty much submit to our demands and pretty much open up the strait for free, get rid of their nuclear capabilities completely, no enrichment whatsoever, draw down their missiles. Yeah, we're going for everything at this point. Like, that's the goal here, is to make them submit. Because if this was about bringing them to the negotiation table, we would probably be saying, all right, look, we're going to stop firing. We'll probably talk about more sanction relief. We're going to try to butter them up, not piss them off.
He is making all of the moves, setting up for a potential escalation in military operation. But what does that do for this war in Iran? What does that do for the American people? I can tell you from every conversation that I have with the White House.
Hey, and shout out Michelle Rankin for sending a picnic basket for 600 gems. Appreciate the support. And hey, guys, appreciate all the support, guys, because you guys deserve a celebration. So shout out to my man, Dancing G.
Raise a blade in your mouth.
And all right, let's get right back into it, guys.
With White House officials, U.S. officials, anyone close to President Trump, they do not want to be talking about this war. They do not want to be engaging in this war. They would take a ceasefire now if they could just get a ceasefire, hope for the prices to kind of level or at least go down a little bit, and then they could move on to talking about things like the economy. That's obviously not going to happen if President Trump escalates this. So is he willing to escalate this and potentially even put boots on the ground? We just aren't clear right now what the strategy is, and we're getting nothing from President Trump's orbit as to what he's going to do to break this impasse between Iran and the United States. At this point, seems like it's just going to continue.
Yeah. All right, Kristen, thank you very much. And of course, just so much confusion on strategy and also what the end goal even is, what they actually want. Christoph Kettle is here with the New York Times. Seth Jones is also here with me. And I know both of you have so much new information. So Seth, can I just start with you? I know you've been speaking to senior U.S. officials. Are we about to see a massive escalation here? The bigger strikes, bigger action than since the war began?
Well, Aaron, only one person knows the answer to that, and that is President Trump right now. I will tell you what the military has given him is options. They've given him options if he wants to open up the strait. This will be risky. They've given him air options. They've given him air plus naval options, so to put in naval vessels, including potentially destroyers through the strait to bring in tankers and others, and then air plus naval plus ground options. So the president does have options if he wants to forcibly open up the strait. It does have risks. That's where we're at right now.
Which is an incredible moment. Christoph, let me ask you, you did this incredible visual investigation of what has actually happened. destruction at U.S. military bases in the region and what's happening. And with U.S. troops dying in recent days, perhaps in part because of defenses on those bases being so severely compromised, your reporting is so central. So you got images that Iran had put out for propaganda purposes that you then went and verified what exactly is. So damage to structures at the U.S. Air Base in Jordan, which we're looking at right here, that as well as damage at Tower 20.
Yeah, shout out to my man Monty. Says everything we're going through is for reasonable. Is for a reason, don't you think? Yeah, everything we're going through is for a reason. You know, yeah, of course. Trust me, there's always a reason behind what we're doing. The thing is, the reasoning behind this war, I'm gonna be real with you, is outside of American interest. That's just what we all got to admit here, guys. The reasoning for this war is way outside of our interest. What Trump is doing with those tariffs, that's what's in our interest. I'm gonna be real with you. Like the housing affordability bill, the SAVE Act, those are all within our interest. But this war is not within our interest. If Trump was doing everything else but this war, he'd be golden. He'd be golden right now. But since this war popped off and a lot of us don't agree with it, and it is hurting some of his metrics, I mean, this is the only thing that we kind of see that's not for a reason, that's for America. This, well, I hate to say it, guys, but we all know that this is for Israel, sadly.
22, which is a U.S. military outpost on the northern Jordanian border up by Syria, and damage to U.S. military, a tent in Erbil, Iraq, up in Iraqi Kurdistan. So what were you able to learn from this?
What we were able to learn from this is that Iran has a lot of firepower left. So they're able to conduct precision strikes. So if you look at the satellite images, you see that they're targeting specific radar sites, drone shelters, airplane hangars, and so on. So they can conduct precision strikes and inflicting very heavy damage. And of course, the most severe damage happened last week on Friday when several U.S. service members were killed.
In a terrible tragedy. By the way, I will note the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, did not answer the question directly when he was asked yesterday if China was providing that.
And this is what concerned me, guys. Like, this is what heavily concerned me about this attack. It was the fact that we were surprised about Iran's missile capability. I was like, wait, what? Like, oh, no, like they had a missile that zagged in the air and it dipped. And I'm just like, yeah, that's a hypersonic missile. They've been had those. This was the problem that we were trying to tell you guys, that like Iran does have the capability to continue firing. This is why the CIA is pretty much telling Trump that, well, this bombing is not going to make them give up because they can still retaliate. And as long as they can retaliate, then this war is going to keep on going. How long could Iran retaliate for? Well, our CIA is pretty much telling us for months. So we're in it for the long run if the escalation route is where we're going.
Targeting information. Obviously, we have reported that both China and Russia were helping provide much of.
Unless we drop a nuke, but I'm gonna be real with you, I don't think we're willing to risk it. I know a lot of people just think, oh, just drop a nuke on them, like that's gonna come consequence free, but no, sadly, it's not.
That information early in the war. So, Seth, when you look at satellite images that you've been focused on the Iranian side of things, right? You look at the ground there, you're seeing something pretty significant in Iran.
Yeah, this sort of dovetails with what we've just seen of.
Oh yeah, bro. We pretty much took out almost every military installation along the coast of Iran. Each and every one just taken out. Like, what was it? Naval towers, naval bases, like where they fire drones and missiles from. Yeah, we took all of that out. But the problem is with us taking all of that out, they were still able to control the strait because they're able to fire deeper from in Iran. So what the goal is now we're progressing past the coast and we're moving deeper into Iran to start taking out these launch sites, which we're currently doing right now.
Damage on the U.S. side, which is we're seeing the Iranians actively rebuilding like busy bees. They're rebuilding missile silos. They're building infrastructure sites. And what's important, Aaron, is that the Iranians have so much underground too that much of what they're having to do in some areas is just reopen areas where earth is just like shut off the tunnel. So it's like redigging, excavation. And what appears to be the case is a lot of the U.S. strikes are just not destroying those missile launchers. They're underground. The Shaheeds underground. Missiles themselves, cruise or ballistic, underground. That seems to be a strategy that has been successful for the Iranians.
And I've been saying this a lot. I've been saying this a lot. It's like, yeah, they make their missiles, drones, all of it has been taken underground. Yes, they make some of it on ground, but most of it, guys, is underground, being stored underground in these pretty much missile cities that they can move through and that are built all throughout mountains. Is like, guys, think of what Hamas was doing. I'm be real with you, like on a whole nother level, on a whole nother advanced level, because it's put hundreds of feet deep inside the ground, reinforced with granite and concrete, and they built this with the prediction that we would be dropping bunker busters or even nukes on them one day. So this is why we're kind of like shaky, because these guys actually built these underground bases to withstand a nuke. Now, can it actually do it? I'm not sure. Most likely not, because it's never been tested. But that's what they built it for.
So far.
Yeah, and I'll note, Seth, from your reporting and what we understand from reporting the New York Times did about the CIA, what 2/3 of the missile capacity was in place. Those numbers, though, are now 6 to 8 weeks old. So who knows what has even been added back on top of that? I mean, it's obviously unclear. Christoph, you were able to verify some of the with video.
And now what they're pretty much talking about here is, well, I read this all the time, but let's see here. Recent Iran drones and missile strikes have targeted CIA facilities in the Middle East. Whoops, nope. This is the one I was trying to get. So let's see here. Once again, CIA intelligence confirms that Iran still maintains about 70% of their pre-war stockpile of missiles and about 75% of their missile launchers. Like, and here's I look, guys, it's kind of funny because I keep saying that our intelligence is going against Trump again. But yeah, our intelligence is going against Trump. They're pretty much trying to make him look stupid. Well, they are making him look stupid on the world stage, because he's telling the world, or telling the US, that, they only got 22% of missiles. They can barely fire anything, when no, actually, they're able to fire a whole lot into different regions and overwhelm multiple missile defense systems, while we're over here trying to sell to the American people that, they're running low on missiles. Yeah, I'm be real with you. It doesn't look good if we just got to keep on sitting there lying about Iran's missile capability or missile capacity.
Some of what Iran was putting out, including a video that Iran had put out showing a strike on that airbase in Jordan. And so you say, we'll show this, what looked like to you that the explosion appeared to be prefabricated housing. So you were able to sort of match this up. So can you talk about that, how you were able to match up what we're actually seeing confirmed?
Yeah, and that strike right there was the hypersonic missile. It's like it hits and it just goes, bro. Yeah, what they got hit with was a hypersonic missile. And the crazy part about it is the way they sent this was pretty much a whole bunch of drones, some cruise missiles, and a hypersonic missile just to pretty much hide amongst them. And I mean, the thing is, not like a hypersonic missile is impossible to shoot down, but it becomes impossible to shoot down when you put other targets out there. And then you got this one missile that's like pretty much dodging. It's like, are you serious?
It's real.
It's a very unusual footage, right? And it's actually filmed probably by a U.S. soldier, because it's inside the airbase. But what we are doing is we use this sort of footage as well as satellite imagery to match this up with each other, to match up buildings, to check the damage when it actually occurred. Satellite imagery allows you to go back in time to make sure, like a week ago, this building was still standing. And that's how we verify, and that's how we can assess both the damage up close, but also on the whole base in this case.
Seth, how vulnerable are U.S. troops? I mean, when you think about in the early days of the war, when virtually every THAAD missile defense system that the U.S. had in the region was taken out, except for maybe one. And now here we are seeing strikes like Christoph is going through on that airbase in Jordan, where U.S. soldiers were killed in just the past few days. How vulnerable are U.S. sites? I mean, how much of that missile defense and radar and all of these things that they've been taking out, how much of it has even been repaired on the U.S. side?
Well, Aaron, there does appear to be some effort to repair some of what the U.S. has done. But I will tell you, I was in Europe last week looking at an update on the war in Ukraine. What is striking, that war's been going on for 4.5 years, is the Ukrainians have been targeted by missiles and drones for 4.5 years.
Bro,
they have their bases.
I do hate how them spin this. It's like, oh no, we shouldn't be in the Iran war because we should be helping Ukraine. It's like, no, bro, we shouldn't be. Let's show some. At least I'm gonna have some consistency here. We shouldn't be in the Iran war, nor should we be helping Ukraine with their war. Because why? It doesn't help us whatsoever. And all we do is drag out of our own stockpiles for, well, let's be real. We drag out our own stockpiles and we sacrifice war with Iran for pretty much defending Taiwan or now giving any type of missiles to Ukraine, which I don't agree with. But I do agree with pretty much stopping China from taking Taiwan. I agree with that. And right now I'm not sure we can really do that, considering what we're doing with our missiles right now, unless China decides to wait for us, about a good 1 to 4 years, and we'll be good. If not, we're in trouble.
Is underground. They've got a range of both point and area defense, so counter drone capabilities. The U.S. should have been better prepared when this war started for these kinds of missiles, cruise ballistic missiles and drones. This was entirely predictable from what we've seen for 4.5 years in Ukraine and how to defend against it. So having like structures that are hittable and not underground is a major lesson from the war in Ukraine that was not moved over to the Persian Gulf right now.
All right, now let's go ahead and get in and let's see what the Iranians are saying.
Fresh Trump Truth Social.
But yeah, let's go ahead and see what the Iranians are saying. Now, this guy here, of course, is he doesn't say he's a spokesman. He says, I'm not a spokesman for the Iranian regime. Yes, you are, dog. Yes, you are. You were at the negotiations. Yes, you are.
The university. So for The View from Iran, we are now joined by Professor Syed Mohammad Marandi of the University of Tehran. Great to see you again, sir.
Good to see you, sir.
Thank you both for inviting me. It's always a great pleasure.
Of course. So we have a fresh Trump Truth Social for you to react to here. We don't even have the element made yet, so I'll read it to you. It says, a year ago, the United States of America attacked very powerfully the Houthis for their interference with commerce and trade by shooting at ships. Since that time, and during our conflict with Iran, they have acted.
And yeah, we took care of them. I mean, we took out leadership and all that, but guess what? We was only dealing with the Houthis. So if we deal with the Houthis as a singular entity, yeah, we got them. We can pull their card any day. But if we're dealing with Iran, the Houthis, while they're also firing off into our allies, it's just like, yeah, that's doing too much. We're focusing a whole lot on defense and offense, and we got to use munitions for both. So I think we need to go ahead and tap our greatest ally, Israel, on the shoulder and be like, yeah, get your ass out there and go take care of the Houthis. And you should actually go ahead and take care of Hezbollah as well. Like, we ain't doing that for y'all either. Just an idea. I think we should actually make them commit to something instead of starting shit. But all right, though.
Very responsibly. Unfortunately, now they are starting up again, shooting at 2 Saudi Arabian ships last night. Please let this truth serve to represent that if they do this again, the U.S. will hold Iran responsible in that the Houthis are a surrogate and or proxy of Iran. Major military punishment will be inflicted upon Iran. And of course, the Houthis themselves, who I am very disappointed with in that they have until now acted very professionally and smart. Your reaction to that, sir?
Well, we are already on Trump's list, even as he's waging war against the country. He said that any ship that's hit or even fired upon in the Strait of Hormuz, in response, the United States will take out a power plant or a bridge. Well, last night, 3 ships tried to pass through the Strait of Hormuz without the permission of the Iranian Navy, and one of them was struck and the other 2 retreated. So far, Trump has not carried out his threat. Of course, the Iranians have said that if he does so, then those countries in the Persian Gulf that are complicit in this war, their critical infrastructure will be.
Well, actually, he did carry out the threat. Oh, no, he for sure carried out that threat. Let's go right
a dozen cities, including Bandar Abbas and Avaz, where at least 4 people have been killed.
Yeah.
The U.S. military says it's conducted another round of strikes against Iran. Explosions have been reported in at least half a dozen cities, including Bandar Abbas and Avaz, where at least 4 people have been killed. U.S. Central Command says the strikes are aimed at further degrading Iran's military capabilities, with targets including command centers and drone storage facilities. Tehran has vowed to retaliate to any attacks launched against its territory. U.S. strikes have also hit Qasem Island, which holds a strategic position in the Strait of Hormuz. Locals there say they've seen fighter jets flying over the island's southern shores. Iran has responded to threats from U.S. President Donald Trump, who's warned that seized Iranian assets could be used to compensate for damage to ships in the Strait of Hormuz. In a post on social media, Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said seizing another nation's assets to pay for unrelated future claims is an incendiary precedent. Those who celebrate or
Yeah, that's the problem. Donald Trump pretty much saying that, yeah, well, we're going to use your frozen assets to go ahead and pay for the damages to our, well, pretty much to our, military assets. I'm about to say ships, but yeah, to pay for damages to our military assets and to pretty much fund this war against you guys. Yes, we're going to use your money to fund the war against y'all. And that's what pretty much Trump is telling them. And they're pretty much saying is like, you're kind of taking out a bit of your leverage here. If you use the if you use the money that you guys sanctioned away from us, then what are you going to give us if you ever need to actually, have some type of, bargaining chip? Be real with you, that's not the best idea. But hey, if that's what Trump want to commit to, go ahead. But I disagree.
unrelated future claims is an incendiary precedent.
If this is what you're going to do, it's almost like you better win. Like, if you're going to use their money to fix our military, it's like, go ahead, but you better win.
Celebrate or profit from such funds should remember, once governments normalize confiscation, no one's assets are safe. Araghchi adds that the ensuing chaos will not be pretty or peaceful. Let's bring in Rasul Serdar now for the latest from Tehran. Rasul, in the last hour, Iran's military has claimed attacks on U.S. positions in Bahrain and Jordan. What else are you hearing from army officials there?
Well, now the army has just released a statement and saying that as a response to the ongoing American attacks on the targets in Iran, so the Iranian army has launched the drones over the American bases in Jordan and Bahrain. So in Bahrain, they've seen fuel storage tanks, so large equipment warehouses and hangars, and also living quarters of what it described as the terrorist U.S. army at Sheikh Issa Air Base in Bahrain. So Sheikh Issa Air Base has been one of the focuses of the Iranian target or Iranian attacks in Bahrain. And then they also given some of the details regarding the Azraq Air Base in Jordan, the aircraft shelters, the aircraft maintenance hangars, and the living quarters of the U.S. Army in Jordan also were attacked by Iranian army. This is now what Iran is saying. Of course, saying that this was in response to the U.S. attacks that has.
Okay, so I did get it somewhat right. All right, shout out to my man Monty. He says ships that are targeted like the oil tankers, that's what the seized assets will go to repair. You misheard what he said. Okay, yeah. I thought he was talking about our military assets, but okay, nah, Monty, you're right, actually. So yeah, pretty much he's saying that they're going to repair the oil tankers that they've hit. And we all know that Iran, well, of course, they don't want to do that. They don't want the U.S. to do that. And I'm going to be real with you. You know what? I kind of like what I said better. Hold on here. If we're going to be using this money for anything, it should be for us. And we're going to be giving money to these oil tankers like what? Singapore, Cyprus. Like, these aren't American vessels. Now, if they were American vessels, okay, cool. But they're not. So I don't know if I really like this. Honestly, we should just leave the sanctioned money alone just in case we do need to give it to them or need to use it as a bargaining chip. And, just in case this whole thing don't work out. But hey, if he's going to do it, he better win.
Happened over the night here. So when we look at the U.S. attacks, 7 provinces have been targeted by the U.S. And now 3 of them are the southern provinces of Iran that usually the United States is focusing on: Hormuzgan, Khuzestan, Sistan, and Balochistan. And in Khuzestan, so 4 people in Ahwaz, in the city of Ahwaz in Khuzestan, 4 people were killed. But then fully what we're seeing is that the United States is expanding its attacks.
And just to double down on Monty's point, so you guys know that, yes, he is right. President Donald Trump announced that the United States will use frozen Iranian funds under U.S. control to pay for any damages to commercial ships, cargo, or related items caused by ongoing conflict in the Middle East. This policy follows renewed escalations and strikes affecting regional shipping routes, which is nice, but I mean, what do we got? Like what, 24, $25 billion in frozen Iranian assets? So I mean, if that's the case, I mean, they can only take so much damage before we run out of money to give them. And we got billions of dollars here, but each what was it? They said that each oil tanker probably costs around, with all supplies included, maybe around like what, 400 to 500 million dollars. I mean, that means we cover a good amount of ships with that amount of money that we got. I wouldn't suggest it. I would rather them rely on their insurance, but it sounds like we're kind of backing their insurance at this point. It is what it is.
Destroyed, and we know what that would mean in the month of July in the Arabian Peninsula. That would effectively mean that these countries would have to be evacuated. Now, Ansarullah has its own grievances.
No, I'm not gonna lie. He has a point. He's talking about like Kuwait and the other Gulf countries. Like, look, if Iran starts destroying water desalination centers, then these countries become unlivable. Like, they're unlivable. They all of their fresh water, damn near 40 to 99%. And this is pertaining to the Gulf region outside of Iran, sadly. But pertaining to the Gulf region, they need those water desalination centers. That's mainly all of their water right there. And then if you take out the energy infrastructure, those regions now become unlivable. Unlivable, way too hot. It's an effing desert, okay? So you guys got to understand the problem here is that when Iran says they're going to escalate on civilian infrastructure and pretty much destroy the Middle East, that's pretty much what they're going to try to do here if we escalate things with them. So this is why I say that if you want to escalate things, then you're pretty much saying F the entire Middle East, which isn't the best idea right now. And here's the problem. We can destroy Iran's water desalination center. And recently, like I learned this maybe like a couple weeks ago, that Iran only uses like 5 to 7% of water desalination. So yeah, their water only comes from 5 to 7% of these from these water desalination centers, while the guys in the Gulf rely on like 40 to 99%. Like, yeah, you see the problem here. So us taking out water desalination centers, it's going to hit them. It's going to hurt, but not as much as it would hurt a Gulf country. And considering that they got all these little freshwater rivers in Iran. I didn't know that until 2 weeks ago. I'll be real with you.
Yemen, or the Houthis, as they say in the West, the Saudis have led a siege on their country for years, and they see this as the best moment to have leverage.
And shout out to my man Monty, says, you know damn good and well there is no bargaining. They just want to extort us. Fuck them. I mean, here's the thing. You got a point. They do just kind of want to say, yeah, we want to control the strait. We're going to start tolling for war damages and all this good stuff. But we wouldn't really be here if we didn't start this. It's not like they just popped this off, start trying to control the strait, and this is the reason why we're at war with them. They're doing this to us because we popped off this war and they're trying to play an asymmetrical warfare. So they're closing down the strait, and now when the war was damn near looking like it was reaching a conclusion, they're like, oh no, we want to hold on to the strait because now we see it as leverage that you can't take away from us, which we kind of proved that we did kind of prove that we can't, and now we want to use this just in case. So I don't know. We can bargain with them, but now bargaining them will look like complete capitulation at this point. Like, that's bargaining, and like I know you don't want to do that, and I don't want to do it either, but if we want to get a conclusion to this war with the best results possible, the best end result possible, then we probably might have to come to some type of capitulation then. Or we can escalate it in hopes that Iran surrenders, even though our CIA doubts it. But if they do, then that's also a good way we can end this with the best result. But if not, then we risk, the entire global economy and our currency going with it. So, like, here's the thing. Like, trust me, I know nobody wants to bargain with the terrorists. Nobody wants to negotiate with terrorists. But sadly, we got to negotiate with the terrorists. It sucks. It really do. Like, trust me, dog. I feel you, Monty. But we kind of got to negotiate with these guys. Like it or not. Especially if we don't take them out now. We're negotiating with them. So we escalate. Iran commits war crimes. Yeah, I mean, yes, actually. Here's the problem, though, Monty. In a way, we're kind of committing war crimes as well. When we destroyed those 3 bridges leading out of that province, that could be seen as a war crime because at a certain point, you destroyed every bridge that a citizens need to get out of that province for, logistics and commerce and all that good stuff. And we destroyed all those. So right now it's war crime for war crime. That's what we're doing right now. And I don't like it either, but this is the game we're playing. It's war crime for war crime. You destroy a bitch, we destroy water desalination center. If you destroy an energy plant, we'll destroy an energy plant somewhere else, or we'll start attacking civilian infrastructure somewhere else. This is like, yeah, they're going war crime for war crime. So it's just like, you might as well throw international law out the window with this war because nobody cares anymore. Nobody cares. Now it's official. Nobody cares about international law.
Because the Strait of Hormuz is closed. So they said we're going to shut the Red Sea to Saudi Arabia until they lift the siege. And
Wait, shout out to Dark City. He says MAGA thinks we are winning this war. Cultist bit. Oh wow, that damn it, Dark City. Well, we all know how Dark City feels about the right or MAGA. He do not like those guys. Here's the thing: even though I consider myself ex-MAGA, honestly, I do, because on that side, it's getting a bit. I'm be real with you guys; it's getting a bit too wild on that side. They're going in the wrong direction with a lot of things, but I still do share some values with them. Well, a good amount of values. Just not the whole. I don't know, the war, the race, the controversy, the race controversy, religious controversy that's being pushed to push us into more war. I can't get down with that. I don't like how MAGA's falling for that hook, line, and sinker. It's almost like how I know there's the moderate Dems or the sensible Dems that don't like how like the Democrats are falling for this progressive shit, hook, line, and sinker. Oh, and shout out Monty. Or we can give Iran all the people in California and Oregon and Washington. I'm weak. We can give Iran all of the people. It's like, look, man, you guys just chill out, open up the strait, and we'll just give you all these people. All you guys just go out there. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know if the guys in California, Oregon, or Washington will survive out there in Iran. It's a little too hot and they're a little too liberal. Actually, you know what? Maybe we do send them out there. I guarantee you, if they spend maybe like 3 months in Iran, just 3 months, they're gonna come back so goddamn conservative. That's literally gonna be their lifestyle for the next 3 months. Like what liberal? Like there's feminism in Iran and all that good stuff, in liberalism. But the dominant thing in their culture is conservative. Yeah, it's conservative Islam, mainly just right wing conservatism.
United States waged war against Yemen.
Not saying that right-wing conservatism is conservative Islam. I'm just saying, though, it just has, conservative values.
The United States did not succeed. So far, the United States in its war against Iran has not succeeded. If Trump wants to fight two wars simultaneously against these two entities that he could not defeat, I don't think the result will be victory.
Professor, I'm curious for your reaction.
Unless Trump takes it to the extreme. But hold on now. Shout out to all the support guys. Let me go ahead and give you guys a shout out real quick. Guys, let's go ahead and switch it up here. So let's see. Let's go ahead and get into this Piers Morgan real quick. Now, it's actually funny. Everybody's talking about the whole Andrew Tate arrest and all this good stuff. And it's kind of funny because I don't think these guys are going to get in trouble, bro. I really don't. Like, and the thing is, I don't even believe that they actually did these charges. Like, you know how much times they say that Andrew Tate did this, bro? They said, oh yeah, no, you guys did it in Romania. No proof came up. Actually, it was actually figured out the girl who made the allegations was lying to hide the fact that she was cheating on her boyfriend in Romania. And then, of course, they dropped it in the UK, which is kind of hilarious because now the UK found like 59 new charges for these guys. And it's just like, I'm sorry, but like, when are you actually going to get them? Because first off, I don't even believe that they did it. But it's like the third time you guys have honestly tried to put the same charges on them, saying that you found new information that really don't exist. But let's see. I mean, hey, man, they say 59 new charges and they got them for some type of child, like photos of children that are indecent. I mean, that's heavy. Hopefully they actually got something this time because the last time they didn't.
Now to debate all this is the host of the Daily Wire's Michael Knowles Show. Michael Knowles, PBD podcast contributor and friend of the Tate.
And oh yeah, you're right. And shout out to my man Monty. He says call-ins. You know what? I thought I posted it already, ironically. I really did. Sorry. I got ahead of myself there. But yep, I'm going to go ahead and post the call-ins real quick. And shout out to my man Lunatic Libertarian. He says the U.S. in 1953 Yeah, in order to understand problems, follow the timeline. World War II to all the way up to 2026, US and Iran relations, Republicans can eat shit for the NDAA passing. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie though. No, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like Republicans, that was a major L. The fact that you let the fusion of Israel and US military, like, bro, that's like a complete spit on our sovereignty as Americans. So it's kind of crazy how y'all did that. And then y'all pushed it under our nose, knowing that there was huge disagreements about it. But yet y'all still went behind our backs and did it anyway. It's like, bro,
Emotional damage.
breaking my heart. Breaking my heart. And it's like they don't even care. But all right, though, let's go ahead and get right into it. Because I do want to hear what more on this. And first off, hold on now. Shout out to my man Monty. What's going on, brother?
What up, dude?
What up, brother? Man, how you doing?
Oh, I'm good.
Sure.
You know what? I have a solution to this all right now. You ready?
Yeah.
Here's what we do. California, Washington, and Oregon. All those people that want to simp for Islam and simp for fucking all this shit, poor Palestine, poor this, poor that, go to Iran. We'll end the war right now. We'll give you about 50 million people.
I'm weak.
You can go assimilate into that culture since you hate it here so much, and the war can be over. Like they'll have it'll be a utopia. Iran's really the good guy. Remember, guys? We're just evil America and the Jews, the evil Jews. Yeah, just go to Iran, and we won't bomb Americans. I mean, unless you're Obama.
I'm done. All right. All right. Okay, that was funny. That was actually funny. But all right now. But I would say this. Now, you are right. There is some people that do take it from that angle of, oh, no, Iran's the hero. We all need to support Iran. And I'm just like, whoa there, guys. Whoa there. You could be against this war without, being
Simping for Iran.
Yeah, but it's like low key. Like I have seen. I'm like, yo, that is wild. Like
that's why. Anytime you give me any pushback, I lump you into the same category. It's not conscious. I just see so much of that shit. They'll take a point that you make, right?
Yeah.
And they'll be like, see, this is why Iran is justified in, committing the war crimes that they're committing because the evil Americans. Like, bitch, go to fucking Iran then.
Yeah, Loki, I don't like that point of view either. It's just like, I'm like, hold on. I mean, like, look, I'm all like, I can sit there and say they're going tit for tat and they're both wrong. I'm not going to sit there and say, well, Iran's justified because, like, whoa.
Iran's not justified in shit. Iran got what's coming to them. Like, I mean, this has been fucking going on for 50 fucking years. And all the fucking armchair quarterbacks in the back, oh, fucking blah, 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 blah. It's really America's fault. Everything is fucking America's fault, according to you. We can do no right because fucking fundamentally America's a bad place. So I'll fucking pay your ticket, go to fucking Tehran. I'll give you a one-way fucking flight on Emirates. It's a fucking nice plane. You can go fly to fucking Iran and you can go live over there since you think we're so fucking bad.
You know what? I feel you on that, but I would say this. The only, like I said, the only time I would say, okay, look, you can actually agree with these guys on something because I think their main point is that, look, we're getting into this war because of, well, one, constant intervention in the Middle East that we should not be engaged in. Now, nobody's
but we are.
As a hero,
here's the thing.
But we can't sit here and pretend like, oh, okay, yeah, this wasn't gonna, like, we didn't predict that this was gonna happen. But
you can say shoulda, coulda, woulda for fucking 10 administrations past, like, but that's not the reality of the situation that we're living in today. So I'm tired of hearing, oh, but we did this fucking shady shit in 1950. Yeah, we did.
Yep.
We did. And it put us in this situation. Now, does that mean you just fucking lay down and let your dick get run over? No, it doesn't. It means you fucking stand up for your country and fucking fight your enemies.
Yeah,
If
but
they
here's the
don't, if they
problem,
want
though.
to,
It's
we
like,
weren't.
but we're doing like the same thing that kind of made the situation worse.
No, we're not overthrowing governments. We're fighting them.
But the goal is to kind of overthrow the government.
No, if the goal was to overthrow the government, we would have just did what we did in the 1970s, according to fucking all the armchair experts. Why don't we just do that? If that was the goal.
I don't think it's possible with Iran.
What?
They kind of make
How is it not possible? How is it not possible?
It's a little bit different. Remember, you got to understand everything. One, how their regime is structured. It's structured so there can be no regime change unless you just.
Oh, so it's a dictatorship?
Yeah, it's definitely what you could call it that. Yeah, you could definitely call it that. They like
It's
to call
a
it
theocratical
Republic,
dictatorship.
but, hey.
And that's what people are fucking sitting back and propping up. Oh yeah, it's great. You know, they have great advances in science. Meanwhile, they're fucking living under fucking oppression and their dollar's worth shit. They protest and they're like, yeah, we'll give you $7 to stop protesting, or we'll just mow you down.
Here's the thing, though, that kind of goes into the liberals' point. The only reason it's even like that isn't because of their leadership. That's because of us.
Oh,
it's destroying their dollar.
So before we engaged in this war,
if you want the Iranian people to turn against the government, well, how are we going to get them to do that when they understand that we're the ones bringing on the economic?
We don't want them to turn against the government. We want them to fucking have a government. They don't have a government. A government implies
that is their government. It is, and it's a legit one that has
a government.
Sadly.
A government implies that you have governance over the people, not you're just ruling over the people. That's a dictatorship.
Bro, we consider the Saudi government and they're ruling over the people, so we recognize dictatorship. Sadly,
no. Okay, it is a different form of fucking rule. It is a government means that you have fucking people in place that can change, that you've submitted authority to your government.
Now, in a way, I mean, let's be real. The Gulf region ain't like that. And
not being able to fight it. Not being able to fight it is not submitting to it.
Here's a problem. Like I said, Monty, you always got to remember here, the Iranians, we've been lied to about the support that the regime has. That's just the fact that we got to understand here. We thought that 90% of the people was against Iran, but how can we sit there and say that when their elections say otherwise? Where over a million people pulled up to the dead leaders or the dead Ayatollah's funeral. This shows that this regime has way more support than we actually thought.
So,
this is why.
So you mean, So by that logic, fucking a million people showed up to Charlie Kirk's funeral. Does that mean that fucking Charlie Kirk's not dead?
No, whoa, that wasn't what I was saying. What I was pretty much saying was that, actually think about it like this: because a million people showed up to Charlie Kirk's funeral, that shows how much people truly supported him, how much people truly was touched by his message in his death. So that goes the same for the dead Ayatollah, like him or not.
I mean, it doesn't in my brain, because I think of this from a fucking American perspective, not a what do the people of Iran think about what we're doing? Because I believe.
Well, if we want them to submit, and we want them, go ahead.
No, hold on. You have to see it where fucking people like me are coming from. I've said it 1,000 times, and I guess I'll say it again. I don't care about the people of Iran. I care about the people of Idaho. I care about the people of fucking Michigan, the people of fucking Ohio. I care about the American people, fucking, which is why I don't like it when fucking American service members die. However, I'm not going to sit here and say, oh man, a million people showed up. I guess that should just destroy our fucking resolve to get rid of a fucking global player that's in our best or against our interests.
Okay.
Is there any window of imagination where fucking Iran is in our interest? Do they fucking work with us? Do they do anything fucking to support us? Or do they rally up with Russia and China, who are actively working to try to undermine us?
I mean, no, that's true. You're right. Iran is an adversary, But here's a problem, though. It's like we do have to take into account the thoughts of the Iranian people because
Why
think about it
did
like
we
this.
take?
No,
Hold
no,
on.
no,
Did we
no.
take into account the thoughts of the German people when we fucked Hitler up? Did we take into account the thoughts of the fucking the French people when we
Well,
went and fucking liberated France? Did we
well,
take
here's
into
a problem,
consideration
though. You
the
do
Iraqi
actually,
people?
yeah, we did actually, because we have to make sure that there's not that much support because then we don't want to be fighting an army plus the people.
The people are the army in every situation that I just mentioned.
So what? People are not military targets?
No, people are okay. You're talking about modern rules of engagement versus the philosophy of fucking people being an army. They're two different things. You have to separate the two because you're talking about modern fucking.
Yeah, that's
We
what I'm
can't.
saying. I'm talking about the army versus militia, because militia is something even in America. We can't be an army. We could be a militia.
Right.
And the
So
problem is when
you judge a country's military strength by their population. That should tell you everything you need to know. You draw comparisons. Like, for example, China has fucking 800 million fucking people. We consider all of those people as a potential threat if we're going to go fuck with China, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So
But
Iran has 92
here's the
million
thing,
fucking
though.
people. I don't.
Yeah, you're right. But when we're invading that country, yeah, you're right. We do have to consider the people as well. But when we're the attacking country, then we don't really.
If you're invading, you are the attacking country.
Yeah. So yeah, we actually do have to worry about what these people think, or else they're going to join in with the IRGC to attack us.
I mean, once they join in, then yes, they are military targets. It is a
you understand where like it's going to be hard to overthrow a regime that can get the people to fight us as well. It's almost like it's like we are about to walk into a very bloody match when we could just take a diplomatic route.
It's a diplomatic route that's been tried for 50 years and has not succeeded.
Nah, we haven't really tried. I mean, we all like through Iran and the US have played.
We haven't tried as so far as capitulating and saying, you know what? Go ahead and wipe Israel off the map. Go ahead and fucking fuck everything up in the Middle East. Keep funding terrorism. We haven't taken that card off the table. And if that's what you mean, then yeah, I guess you're right. We have not tried that route. I don't think that route would be fucking advisable.
No,
but
the route that we haven't tried was actually
we have not tried it.
The program and not infusing Israeli interests with American interests. Because if we was just
we're not going to deal with their nuclear program. Their nuclear program is built. Their nuclear program is literally built so that we can't deal with them.
No, that's the thing. We could have.
That's why it's there.
They were willing to give that up, Monty. The problem is though that we wanted to include their missiles and proxies.
If they were willing to give it up, why haven't they? Why haven't they? If they were willing to do it
every time we attacked them.
No. We attacked them in 2025. We attacked them in 2025. What about 2024? What about 2023?
Hold on now. Come on now. Yeah, we attacked them in 2025 and 2026 during negotiations. So we can't sit there and say that we tried when we've been engaged in duplicitous.
S.E.T, you're missing my question. You're dancing around my question. Why, if they're so willing to give it up, why haven't they?
Because we've not allowed the opportunity for them to give it up.
You don't need an opportunity to stop doing something.
Think about what I'm saying here. Let's say this. They want to give up. They want to give it up, but every time they try to give it up, we ask for more. It's like they're like, okay, here, you want the nuclear program and us stop doing nukes or enrich uranium? Here, take it. Then we turn around and say, okay,
but they haven't stopped that. Hold on.
We want your missiles and your proxies, and that's what ruined it. That's what I'm telling you. There's Israeli interest mixed in with our own. Our interest stops with the nuclear program.
Our interest does not stop with the interest. No. Our interest does not stop with the fucking nuclear program. Our interest also stops with them not bombing our fucking ships.
But they wouldn't be bombing our ships if we'd have took care of the nuclear program and just went through diplomatic means and not include missiles and proxies.
We've already tried diplomatic means. We had the JCPOA, and what did you get out of the JCPOA? You got Fordo.
We got Trump effing that up.
No, hold on. Listen to what I am saying. If they wanted to give it up, why do they still have it?
Because I told you, because we keep on, every time they try to give it up, we keep on asking for more.
So what was the excuse? What was okay, you've said that point. So stop repeating it because I'm not you haven't answered the question I've
That's
asked.
answering the question, Monty. Like, what are
No,
you
it's not.
talking about?
Stop interrupting me. Just fucking try
I'm
to
listening, but I don't think you're actually like getting
You're
what
not
I'm
listening.
telling you. All right, I'm listening.
You're not listening. Okay? Trump has not been in power since fucking 2000. Trump has not been in power since 2010. Trump has not been in power since fucking 2000. He got the power in 2016. Okay? And fucking he ripped the deal up. Whatever. Why was it not given up then? Why is S.E.T and fucking Fordo and all these sites fucking that he attacked, why did they exist if if Iran's just trying to give it all up?
Because all those were created before the JCPOA. The JCPOA was meant to get that under control, and it did, according to the IAEA and our own intelligence.
So the IAEA was wrong then, because
No,
it
they were
existed.
right.
How are they right if
they existed before? Like the JCPOA was to get a handling on the current enriched uranium that they had, and that we won that Obama got out at that time. Then we put them under JCPOA. They promised to stay under that 3.6% for about that 10 to 15 years. We ripped that up. We went ahead and put the sanctions back on, labeled the IRGC a terrorist group, then killed General Qasem Soleimani, which I agree with, but it did come with the consequence of pushing Iran towards that 60% enrichment in 2021. So, and once again, if you're asking why didn't they give it up, they didn't give it. The reason why they didn't give it up because they would never give the opportunity to give it up. Because if they're going to give it up, well, guess what? You can't sit there and say, "Oh, all right, well, thank you, but now we want your missiles and your proxies," because they're going to tell you hell no. That means, AKA, every time they tried to give it up, we said, okay, well, now we want you to give us more. And that's never how it was going to work out with them. They told us multiple times that our missiles and our proxies are unnegotiable, but we're willing to talk to you about our nuclear program. We've done this with them twice, and we attacked them twice. But, well, damn. All right. Well, Monty's went on out on this one. But, all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and close it on down because the sun has risen and I have work tomorrow. Well, today. So, all right. But that was fun, though. I always like talking to Monty and all that good stuff. Shoot, you know what? Let me know what you guys think about that one. And you know what? F it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play the video real quick. But I do also want to get your guys' thoughts because I do got to close on now. But in the meantime,
have no fear. Henny Hegseth is here. Dumbest man alive strikes again.
That we started this war. Iran started this war 47 years ago, and they've killed thousands of Americans, including our brothers on the battlefield in Iraq. Iran has been targeting us for a long time.
Mr. Secretary.
We didn't start it, they did.
Hello, that is a special type of stupid right there. I mean, I don't even think the short bus would pick you up. You really are going to go back 47 years and say that's when the war started? So that means when President Trump was president before, he was just letting Iran kill our troops and did nothing about it, huh? You guys are just pussy? I mean, wow.
Our warfighters are.
I heard failure. The word heard. I heard exactly what you said.
Of course, for Henny Hegseth to only hear one word and think he could capture the whole entire statement. But he was begging today for an increase to $1.5 trillion to the military defense budget so we could win the war in Iran. It's like, hello? We can't win already?
Stand up to your fellow Democrats who won't fund the troops, who stand and play partisan politics while you don't give us the money. You want to stand up here and talk about the troops? You won't show any political courage to actually fund our department because you have Trump derangement syndrome and can't actually commit to anything meaningful.
You are a special type of dick sucker. I could not imagine living my life on my knees like that. But to take this a step further, how much more money could you possibly need? I'm not a war expert, but I would say we're incredibly well funded. Like, most of these countries could combine and still not have our budget. So where exactly is that money going? If you need more money to win this war in Iran, because I don't see Iran anywhere on here. I see our greatest liability, and most of that is probably funded by us as well. So I'm just wondering, where are my tax dollars going if we can't win? Like, what are y'all doing exactly?
We have the ability to destroy whatever is underneath Pickaxe Mountain.
A lot of our capabilities are classified, but if anybody in the world can reach anything on God's green earth, it's the United States military, the most powerful military in the world. It's all about options and trade-offs.
You know he's lying, that stuttering bitch. And that's what's crazy to me is I was telling y'all about the underground mountain complex. Now we're gonna go underneath Pickaxe Mountain. When I'm telling you people, that is one of the stupidest things to even wrap your mind around. We're gonna have to use a nuclear weapon if we even want to touch that, because it's in a fucking mountain. Now, will we do that? Most likely. But it's funny to me that we're talking about nuclear shit when this fucking dweeb has said it's been obliterated, just like Trumpstein, since March. Obliterated, destroyed, objective complete.
5 months ago, you stated that Iran's military had been, quote, destroyed and, quote, made combat ineffective. That was on day 14 of the war. Was that an accurate statement?
They didn't have a Navy any longer. It was completely sunk. Their missiles were buried underneath a lot of their underground facilities, and their defense industrial base has been almost completely destroyed. So as far as a military assessment of Iran's capabilities, it didn't mean by any stretch of the imagination absolute zero, but their capabilities
Mr. Secretary,
at the lowest level
you
they've been in a
stated
very
that
long time.
on day 14 of this conflict, in the second week of the conflict, you stated that Iran's military had been, quote, destroyed and, quote, made combat ineffective. Was that an accurate statement? Yes or no?
Iran's ability to challenge the United States of America at the level at which we're capable of.
That's not what I asked you, Mr. Secretary.
You gotta let people start being disrespectful in these hearings, because immediately you'd be like, hey, you stupid son of a bitch. It's a yes or no question. You said they were obliterated. You said combat ineffective. They just killed a couple of our troops. So was it yes or no, you fucking dweeb? That's how the exchange is supposed to happen.
Made combat ineffective. Yes or no, was that an accurate statement?
What the American military has
Will you
done
answer
to
the
the
question?
Iranian military is a historic military
Will you
defeat,
answer the
and
question
they're ineffective
under oath?
in that context.
It blows my mind that you can claim that it's an historic defeat of the Iranian military, but we still over there. And you're asking for more money to send more bombs and more troops over there. And then you just, oh, well, this is Biden and Obama's fault. Nigga, y'all went into the war. Strait of Hormuz is closed because of y'all. People are dying because of you.
Rate Iran's missiles and drones. Those were clearly and repeatedly stated core objectives of the campaign, which 4 months ago you declared had been completed victoriously with every single objective achieved. Were those objectives achieved 4 months ago?
No one ever stated that every single missile was gone. Ultimately, combat ineffective means they're not able to dig them out of their UGFs and shoot
Had
at
the
us.
missile
It
threat
doesn't mean they
been
don't
defeated
have
4
underground
months
facilities
ago?
where they put missiles in them and hold on to them because they're the world's largest state sponsor of terrorism.
Sorry, bad argument. Largest state sponsor of terrorism, that's us, our greatest liability. But people know the truth now, so stop using that one. And it's interesting to me because if I'm Iranian, right? Most likely I'd be like, yeah, I think it's time for us to get a nuclear weapon. That's the only way people leave you the fuck alone.
What are we doing, generally speaking? Well, it'll be an honor as well to join you at Dover to recognize these incredible Americans who committed to the cause just like you are. Something no president's been willing to do. 47 years, they build up a conventional capability like the North Koreans did. Remember, that's how North Korea made their way to a bomb. So much weaponry.
Sickens me that you sound giddy to go see people that have died because of the war that you put them into. But to take this a step further, Kim Jong-un is actually a perfect example. Guess what? People don't fuck with that man anymore. I'm not saying that North Korea is a good place to spawn into. I would not want to spawn in there, but does anybody bother them niggas? Nope.
March 8th, day 9 of the war, on 60 Minutes, you assured the American people of Iranian surrender. Does that remain your prediction?
Ultimately, Iran will never have a nuclear weapon to threaten the United States of America. That has been the objective, and it remains so.
So just to review, you will not answer whether your statement made on the 14th day of the war that Iran's military had been, quote, destroyed and made combat ineffective was a truthful statement to the American people as you sit here and ask for tens of billions more for the conflict.
Senator's time has
Had a
expired.
historic and effective military campaign against the largest state sponsor of terrorism.
Won't
and will
answer the
ensure they
question.
never-
Hopefully when this is all said and done, Gladiator Fridays will be a real thing, because I would love to match you up with a couple fucking grizzly bears.
They did slip something through in Jordan, and if we had other operators, would not happened, unfortunately. But because we have the best equipment in the world, we've stopped almost everything. But when you let other people do your job, with the United States, we let other people do the job, and sometimes it doesn't work out so well.
Like, end of the day, blaming our troops' death on Jordan, who is housing our military, helping us attack Iran in a war they don't even want to fucking be in. And who knows how many of them died.
Noah!
Larry, what the hell are you doing?
Larry, you can't just...
Larry! Oh, are you all right? How did...
Larry!